come from around the world, pounding their way through the streets of Houston, hoping to reach the promised land, the finish line. It is a grueling feat, an amazing display of physical strength and mental determination. Today, our city opens its arms to those running the 39th Chevron Houston Marathon. And our mile-by-mile live coverage begins right now, here on ABC 13.
Down on more than 26,000 runners this morning from Sky 13. Our HD shot from the air coming up in just a second. Good morning, everyone. We're just seconds away from the 39th running of the Houston Marathon, the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the El Paso 5K run. Along with me, my colleague meteorologist Casey Curry this morning, and our expert on all things running once again. Couldn't do it without him, John Warren, the track coach at Rice University. There's our Sky shot. The starting line, 26,000 people ready to do it. The big story today, the weather, Casey. Maybe rain could affect everybody.
I think we're definitely going to see rain. The big question is, when does it come down heavy, and do we see lightning, which of course will put a stop to the race.
Yeah, and they will put a stop to the race if they see lightning around here. John, how does this affect the elite runners and those people going for a PR?
The biggest factor is going to be the heat and humidity as well, because it's going to be really thick and really warm for marathon conditions.
All right, well, we've got a great race coming up here in just a couple of seconds as we turn you to the starting line, and our Don Nelson, who is there with a look at what the runners are expecting this morning. Good morning to you, Don.
Marathon in two waves. The first, of course, you can see the elite runners. You've got Brett Goetzer in the front. You've got David Chariot in the back just to his left. You've got several of the elite runners all lined up in the front here, ready to take off. 11,000 people, and somewhere between a record-setting time and a reason to run, and ages between 10 and between 80, you find people mixed in here. In the first wave, about 5,000. The next wave, about the same, 11,000 total. We're getting ready for the countdown now. Brett Goetzer last year, the half marathoner, made his debut with a 2:10:36. David Chariot, also his best time, although not here. He's a three-time winner here, but his best time is 2:10:36. Little drama here. Weather the factor without a doubt. In the yellow alert, of course, they're getting ready to be very careful here just in case the lightning does come. But for now, it looks like the start's going to go off without any problems whatsoever. We're a minute away from this happening. People lining along, there's thousands of people. This is one of the favorite races of all time. This is where records are broken. We've had a couple last year, and of course, everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. The weather, the factor in the sense that it's a little bit warm, so a lot of curiosity is how that will affect. Of course, John Warren will tell you all about that, how this will affect the final times. But as we get down here, they look like they're all set to go, and we'll be peeling off some 5,500 runners in just a second. You can see them all. And of course, David Chariot, age 40, says he's going to do it. He's going to win this one. You've got Goetzer, an Olympic hopeful right here. He's also here to try to maybe perhaps beat his best time. If that may not be the case with the weather, the factor here, but nonetheless, they're all set. Here we go. Get ready, and let's just listen. And they're going. There they go. The 39th Houston Chevron Marathon on the first wave, off and running. By the way, that voice is Whit Raymond. He's the voice of the marathon. He does these all over the country and all over the world, actually. And he says this is one of his favorites, and he's looking for some amazing stats here today as well. Some of these people, of course, are doing this for the first time. Some of these people have been doing it for as long as the marathon's been around. Mixed in the first wave, of course, with the elites are some people that have been coming to this event for years and years and years. 50 states, 18 countries represented in all, 11,000 runners in the full marathon, 22,000 in all for the full marathon, half, and the 5K. Ready to go. Most say, I will tell you this, Tom, Casey, John, most say it doesn't matter what they're going to do. They're running this race. They don't care what happens. Some people are here for the whole thing, so hopefully the weather won't be too threatening and everybody will be able to finish what their plans were to begin with. But I'll send it back to you right now.
All right, Don Nelson, thank you from the starting line. As you look at that wave of runners, as Don said, the first wave to begin this 26.2-mile trek all around the city of Houston. Some 250,000 spectators expected to line the race course and cheer them on today. 11,000, as Don said, in the marathon today, 11,000 and a half marathon, and just over 4,000 in the El Paso 5K run. A little bit of controversy. This is the first year they've had a lottery system, and a lot of people were left out. Some 7,000 people didn't get chosen this year, and that included a lot of longtime marathoners here. And that, of course, John, will affect, you know, a lot of people here who come to this race every year to try and support it with their runs. But it was something that the race director here said they had to do, really, because they had to bring in people from out of town to support the hotels and businesses, which is what, you know, this is all about as well.
Right, and their main goal of this marathon is to make it a very high-quality event for everybody. We've talked about this in the past, but the main thing that makes this marathon great is this building right next to it, to George R. Brown. Everybody's essentially treated like an elite. If it was pouring down rain before the race, everybody would be in shelter. If it's pouring down rain at the end of the race, everybody gets to go to shelter. That doesn't happen in Boston. That doesn't happen in New York. You're in the elements for 2-3 hours prior to the race, and you're stuck there afterwards until they bus you home. So the setup, the way they want everyone to be treated at the highest quality possible race they could possibly get, and they're not comfortable with over 22,000 entries.
All right, once again this year we're outside the George R. Brown Convention Center, although the starting line has been moved a little bit this year, Casey, because of construction downtown here. So we're on the closer to the south side of the George R. Brown Convention Center. We'll take a look now, and here's where we start this morning at Prairie Street here, just outside the George R. Brown Convention Center. As then, as you see, we go up toward the Elysian Viaduct and then onto Quitman, and we go almost toward the Heights, Casey. It's a great course, flat course for runners who really want to set a PR best here. But let's talk about the weather being a factor here this morning, because they do have a color-coded warning system that's out, almost like the Homeland Security had out for terrorism alerts. It's a color-coded warning system, and they will take people off the course, or at least try to, if there's lightning.
Right, and so the colors that you're looking for are red and black today. That indicates that these are conditions where things could get dangerous for every type of runner out there. And when you're talking rain, high humidity, high temperature, and of course the possibility of lightning, those do become dangerous situations. And there is the contingency plan, and if things start to get bad, we start getting lightning within a 10-mile radius of our course, anywhere on the course, they're going to start to pull people off and put a stop to the race, at least temporarily.
I'll tell you, I've talked to 5 people last night who said, I don't care if it's lightning every step of the way, I'm going to continue to finish this race. I think we'll talk about that after the break, John, because there's going to be a lot of people who just want to finish this race and forget about the weather. If you've got pictures of those people you see racing along the course, or if you're running and you happen to have a camera along with yourself this morning, send it to eyewitness@abc13.com, because we'd like to show them on the air as they come in. And we'll be back with more of the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon after this.
Just getting yourself there is the hardest part. Once you get there, it's a big adrenaline rush.
Well, it's definitely harder just to train for it, because you have to get out there, you know, 4, 5, 6 days a week to do it. I mean, the marathon, you get up one day and you're real pumped up, you want to do it.
A lot of people say that I'm crazy what I'm doing.
It's pretty time intensive, and it's
probably the road to marathon's harder because of all the time you have to put in.
The road to marathon is the toughest part. The marathon itself, if you've trained for it, the first 20 miles are a blast, because you're not really going fast. You don't think you're going fast.
The training is not that bad. It takes a lot of time and effort, but you do it at your own pace and you work hard. But then you go out there and there's all those people, and at 26 miles, you just can't realize how hard running 26 miles is until you do it.
But if someone is sitting on the couch right now, they can get up and successfully finish a marathon in about 6 months. If they want to go out there and really kill it, it'll take a couple of years.
And welcome back, everyone. We are about 7.5 minutes into the running of the 39th annual Chevron Houston Marathon. Look at the crowd of runners as they approach the Elysian Viaduct north of downtown. The first wave, the second wave right behind them, and then, of course, we've got the El Paso 5K Fun Run. It is going to be a bit of a wet morning, something unusual for us here on the marathon table, because, John Warren, we really haven't faced a rainstorm in the years before that we've run this. Maybe a few sprinkles now and then, but not the kind of rain that we might get later on this morning.
Right, in all the years that we've been covering this thing, we've been complaining about the cold, which has been really nice for the marathoners, but for them today, it's going to be tough. Back in '97, the last time I ran this race, it was actually worse. It was 6 degrees wind chill, pouring down rain, ice on the ground, people were falling left and right. That would have been a day to turn around and go home, because that was raining actually when you're standing at the starting line. Today, it wasn't bad at the start, so at least you're not starting uncomfortable with wet shoes.
Casey, let's talk about the chances for rain, because I know we were expecting earlier in the week, maybe Thursday or Friday, the rain to come in maybe 6 or 7 a.m. It's held off, and now you're thinking maybe 9 or 10?
Yeah, our hope right now is that we'll get the elites finished at least, and then maybe we can just have rain for everybody else. We're actually going to go back to the studio to meteorologist David Tillman. He's in the Weather Center right now, and he can give us the very latest on what's going on with this batch of rain that's headed our way. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Casey. I think with high confidence, we can say that the elite runners will make it through the marathon this morning without heavy rain or lightning to deal with. It's the people finishing a little bit later than that, say between 10 and 12 o'clock, that might have a problem with lightning. Right now, lightning counter shows no lightning at this time, and we just have basically areas of light rain and mist across southeast Texas. A wider shot does show intensifying showers near San Antonio and Corpus Christi. Those will work their way in our direction, but they won't make it to the Houston area until around 11 o'clock this morning. Where you live right now, temperatures are in the low to middle 60s out there. It's warm and humid. That's the really only weather concern that we're dealing with right now. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, David. David's going to be there all morning, and we'll keep checking in and keep you posted on the rain and potential for stronger storms that are headed our way.
All right, back to the starting line. Don Nelson is there for wave 2 of the marathoners. Don?
That's right, Tom, and I want to tell you right now, that was the elite group that left earlier, 6,000. Now this is the organic group, the all-natural runners, 5,000 of them, and they're off. The second wave, the wave full marathon, some 5,000 of them taking off. You'll notice you'll see some recycled garbage bags as part of their attire. Hopefully none of that stuff will get on the street. There's actually a serious thing about that. Those that had the garbage bags on, if they take them off and throw them down and they get wet, they could be a real hazard for runners. So on a serious thought, you got to be careful with that. But here comes another 5,000 or so running down there for the total of 11,000 on that full marathon, the 39th Houston Chevron Marathon through Houston. And this is of course, a lot of people are in this the race for a reason. There's some 52 charities that raise money for this run for the various causes. Last year, $1.8 million were raised. They expect to go well over $2 million this year. They also have what they call pace crews, that's groups that stay together to try to encourage each other to finish the same time. So here we have, we'll send it back to you. We've got our full marathon underway.
Great shot, Don. Thank you very much. We're joined by someone who knows a lot about running. Politically, the mayor of this great city in East Parker. Good morning, Mayor. You just keep going from one great event to another. You start with Glow-O-Rama and the New Year's Eve party, and now you go to the marathon, the biggest single-day event here in the city of Houston.
That's Houston. That's one of the benefits of living in a huge, wonderful city like Houston, is that there are a lot of events that bring the community together. Now, Glow-O-Rama was a good spectator event. This is a sporting event that, in addition to the 22,000 athletes, you're going to have a couple of 100,000 Houstonians out cheering them on. I'm also I'm happy that this is a little bit warmer than last year.
Yeah.
We were freezing last year. This drizzle, not bad. If we can keep the rain off for an hour or so, it'll be really a perfect race.
Are you concerned at all about that, about the weather getting bad with this many Houstonians and visitors out and about?
Well, our wonderful weathercasters here, including ABC, say that there's no lightning anywhere in the within 100 miles, so we should have a safe and successful race.
And you do have contingency plans actually to move people off the course in the case of lightning, actually to get them to shelter in place. As we talked earlier, many of those runners probably won't heed the advice, but nonetheless there are the plans in place.
Well, we can give them the advice, but they don't necessarily have to follow it.
Yeah.
the fact that we're 39 years we have had safe, successful races.
Yeah,
we've not had problems. We want this, God willing, this will be another great race. I have to say thank you to all the folks who have made it possible. There are thousands and thousands of volunteers who start the day after the race, started the day after the race last year, and have been putting this together. The great corporate sponsors, to have Chevron back again, to have Aramco back again, El Paso, HEB, a lot of others. And thank you all for broadcasting the race live.
We have a great time. We have a great time. Thank you for all you do, Mayor. We'll let you run. I know you got a lot of people to see this morning. Thank you, Mayor of the City of Houston, Anise Parker. Let's take you to the race course. Right there is on the Legion Viaduct is Bob Slovak. Bobby, good morning to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
It was. Last year you were speaking in the
now we're all hot.
Say what?
And as you can see, some people throwing off some clothes, but with the weather the way it is today, not a lot of people wearing the cold weather gear.
Once you get to the marathon, you're just running on adrenaline, and you go with everybody, and you run a lot faster than you do when you're training. So I think once you get to the marathon, it's just all gravy.
The half marathon is kind of easy to get to that, but then it's a milestone to get to the full marathon.
I don't know if it's a fine line between dedication and insanity for me.
Definitely harder to get there. The race day is your reward.
I 1, 2, 3, and 4. Marine Corps. Army Navy was not for me. Marine Corps.
My name is James Winston. I'm a captain in the Marine Corps. I deployed twice to Iraq as an infantry officer.
My name is Captain Corey Pulley. Been with the Marines about 8 years now.
I'm Master Sergeant DJ Wilson. It's around 14 years.
My name is Devon Ferrero, and I'm a Master Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. 18 years.
What I needed was a little bit more. Marine Corps.
We get up every morning to Memorial Park around 6:30 in the morning, and we run between 16 to 15 miles. You don't have the pressure of that drill instructor yelling at you all the time. When you run the marathon, you know that you're going to stop at 6 miles or you're going to stop at 9 miles. When you're doing Marine training, you really don't know when you're going to stop.
A lot of the same values that it takes to run the marathon and it takes to be a Marine. You got to be pretty tough. You got to like challenges. You have to search for inner discipline. So, and when things get hard, you have to keep pushing through.
I needed something that was hardcore.
I think all of us have our own different reasons. I'm doing it to hang out with my fellow Marines, but also I have some people that I run for when I run. Some guys like Nick, who passed away and died in Iraq, that I actually put into the Marine Corps. Some other guys like Glenn, who died over in Iraq from Colorado.
I've had a few friends myself that were killed, and so just to get out and represent some of the men and women that have gone before us and have given their lives and paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I'll be thinking of all those guys that have gone before and had an impact on my life, and it's something that I want to carry on and carry with me.
Every day, proud to put on the uniform and represent the Marine Corps, to run from the city of Houston in the marathon. Great thing.
And we are proud to have them running here in the 39th annual Chevron Houston Marathon. I'm Tom Cook, along with our meteorologist Casey Curry, my morning partner, and John Rice, the track coach at Rice University, here with you for the next, about 2.5 hours as we continue the 39th running, the 10th running in the Aramco Half Marathon, and then it's been 4 or 5 years with El Paso joining us for that 5K fun run this morning. It is a very damp morning out here, I would say, as the rain heads our way, although it's held off so far this morning.
We've been really lucky. We'll keep checking back at the Weather Center at ABC 13 with meteorologist David Tillman throughout the morning, but so far we've had just light rain, the bulk of the heavy rains off to the west, and so far no lightning neither, and that's what would really put a damper on things.
All right, high temperature though, about 61 degrees or so, John, a lot of humidity, not exactly great running conditions for those elite runners.
No, you'd like to be 10 or 15 degrees cooler than this, and definitely the humidity to be a heck of a lot less. But they've already changed their plans. It's noticeable. Brett Gocher's leading the race right now with a couple of rabbits and a last-minute ad, Burkina Talisa, but they're only running 2:10 pace, which only sounds kind of silly to say. say, but they were shooting for 2:08 coming in. That was their plan. The rabbits were trying to come through 64 minutes for the half, which is flying. But today, I think they've smartly toned it down a little bit. And you know, Gocher's PR is 2:10.36 here. If he runs that in these conditions, that's a really good sign.
Yeah, a guy who surprised everybody last year because it was his debut marathon, and he ended up running 2:10.36, 7th place last yeyear, but good enough for a spot in the running annals of Houston.
Oh yeah, that's the American record here on this course, and he didn't get any prize money, the 2:10.36. Yeah, that was probably that was one of the best 7th place finishes of all time.
And here we go with the elite runners in the front, John. You can probably get an idea of who they are. Now, our last year's runner, Teshome Galana from Ethiopia, is not running this year. The race director said he had a visa problem getting into this country this year. There were some people who thought some of the elites might pull out because of the threat of rain, but there we go with the pace cam and the front runners today.
Yeah, I think he pulled out before the threat of rain. I'm not sure about the second seed that pulled out. He was a little bit later, Felix Kenny. It's kind of a shame because they both have run 2:07.36, 2:07.37. They're ranked right next to each other in the world. That would have been a phenomenal race and would have helped Brett and Martin Fagan, who's trying to qualify for the Irish Olympic team, set the Irish record. But them not being here is going to slow the pace down a little bit. There's an interesting person in addition to this late ad to Lisa. John Cales is a Kenyan runner who's known mostly for being a rabbit. He hasn't done a serious race in over 2 years. And what he's been doing is leading the winners of London, of Berlin, of Fukuoka, and is actually was the main rabbit when Holly Gabriel-Celeste set the world record at 2:03.59.
All right, and a rabbit, for those who don't know, is a guy who paces the rest of the people.
Right, he'll pull off. There's 2 leading this race right now, and they should leave around the half marathon, hopefully maybe make it to 15 miles. They won't. If they make it much beyond that, that'd be unusual.
All right, let's check in on the race course. Bob Slovak, we had a little problem with you earlier. Bob, we got you now up there in the Elysian Viaduct. Still a big crowd, huh?
Yeah, Tom, we're here and we're ready to go, and so are the runners. You know, the one thing about it being warm to start with, because we've been standing out here before when it's been freezing cold, the runners seem to be in better spirits here as they reach the 2-mile mark. A lot of shout-outs, everybody having a good time, a lot of smiles. There are a few people tossing off some cover-ups, but everybody prepared for the rain, prepared for a very warm run. Let me get out of the way and let you see the shot here as they come over the viaduct. This is one of the great shots here as we get the marathon started. You see what we call the mass of humanity as it comes over the viaduct. And it's amazing to see where this marathon and this half marathon, the fun run, have come. It's all started back in 1972 over at Memorial Park. There was only 113 runners, only 1 female. It has grown to almost 30,000 runners combined in the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the EP 5K run. Here they come. This is actually the second wave. The first wave has already come over. This is the second wave that started a few minutes after the first wave. As they come over the viaduct, you get a great look at all of the runners. We saw Clyde Drexler come running by a while ago. He's running the half marathon today. I had a college buddy of mine running the marathon, and I'm not a young guy anymore. We're in our late 40s, but he's running the marathon. So folks of all ages, I heard Don Nelson mention earlier, from 10 to 80, actually 82 years old is the oldest runner in the marathon today. The youngest, 10 years old. There's actually 10 children running in the marathon from ages 10 to 14. Someone 5 years old running in the half marathon. So runners of all ages out here taking it in. I know John Warren's going to talk about how the heat's going to affect the elite runners. For your average runner, I think this is a great day to run. About 61 degrees, a light rain, not anything serious right now. And you can just see the runners as they come over. I'll get my photographer, John Miswa, to take another great shot here as they come over the viaduct. And some people are wondering why they limit the runners here. Well, this is one of the reasons. There's only so much room coming over the viaduct here and other portions of the course. It's a safety reason. They can only have so many runners coming over, so they limit the number of runners. But as you can see, everybody is getting ready to go. And you guys having a good time? Yeah! That's right. They're having a good time because they're only 2 miles into it. Tom, John, I'm going to go ahead and pitch it back to you guys.
Well, Bob, I do have to tell you, though, when you said that the weather was perfect for the average runner, John Warren rolled his eyes. Obviously thinking, Bob hasn't run in a while.
What's funny is you'd have a lot more runners in Memorial Park today than you would on an ideal running day.
True.
But
That's true.
It's going to slow everybody down.
Maybe more spectators today. That would be the nice thing, definitely.
That would be great.
Hey, we've got 2 pace cams to show you this morning. The first one there on the the left, I believe that's our front runner. Is that right, John?
Yes, on the left is the front runner.
We've got Brett Gocher in the front there with his rabbits. Who else is with him? Can you tell by looking? Of course, they pull out so you can't see.
Well, I've also got, we get information being sent back to us. It's John Cales is up there, Martin Fagan's up there, Burkina Talise is up there, and obviously Gocher. And then there's two rabbits. There's Wilfred Mergor and Nick Arcianaga. Nick trains with Gocher, so it's going to be a nice little plus for them. Those guys won't make it the whole way. On the other camera, what you see is a man. Jenna Tufa is actually rabbiting the women's race. There's a group of women that are trying to run 2:23 today.
Wow.
He was the rabbit when Teba Arqueso set the record in 09, when she ran 2:24. She came back later to run faster last year. So he's going to rabbit them. If he does the same thing for this group like he did for Teba, he'll run all the way to the finish.
Wow.
He pulled off 50 yards from the finish 2 years ago.
And isn't there one of the female runners whose husband is her rabbit? Do I remember that correctly from last year?
Right. That's not. I don't think this Tufa from last year. That was a different runner. Yeah. Right. But on the men's side, they're going through water stations, so you see things spread out quite quickly. But those rabbits will not go the whole way. I mean, Wilfred's never run a marathon, and Nick is running 2:11, which is pretty good, but it's not going to be the pace. Be able to help these guys what they want.
Rabbit might drop off at what, 20 miles, 21?
I would think well before that, probably half to about 15. And but they're running a good clip. They picked it up to 4:45 pace. They're going to run right now. They're on pace, and it's early. Like Bob said, it's really early. You could feel good you should feel good for 10 to 15 miles. But they're on pace to run under 2:10 right now.
Yeah. Well, we have two people who are not here this year. That is Teba Arqueso, who the woman who won last year, and certainly Teshome Galana, the man who won here last year, setting a new course record. And he is apparently having visa problems getting into this country and couldn't run this time. Teba Arqueso, I guess, just dropped out because she's now one of the tops in the world.
Right. She had the 12th best time in the world last year.
So runs for money now.
Right. It's one of those things you might want to come back to Houston to go where you've been successful a couple times. But she might be, I don't know how much, but it could be $100,000 on the table just to show up. It's big money. You only have a handful of these a year. Some people run 2 or 3. Normally you get 1 or 2. Like Brett hasn't raced in a whole year.
All right.
Marathon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't have that kind of money on the table this year. $35,000 this year to the winner in both races. $143,000 in the total purse. Much more on the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon when we come back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the EP5K. I'm meteorologist Casey Curry, and that meteorologist part becomes a little more important on a day like today, along with Tom Cook and our running expert from Rice University, John Warren. Good morning, guys. We are actually going to start off by talking a little bit about the weather, because that is going to be a factor today. It's likely to slow down everybody's pace a little bit, and we always have that over-looming concern, not just about heavy rain later this morning, but also lightning as well. Let's take you to live Meganopolis 13 HD. I just want to give you a little bit of perspective on what's happening. First, you can see light spotty showers across the area, but here's the best news so far. No lightning strikes across the entire view of that radar, and that's the best news, because they won't stop the race because of rain, but they would put a stop to everything if we do get lightning within 10 miles of any place on the race course. Now, as you widen out the view here, you can see that we've got light spotty showers across the area. The bulk of the heavier rain is off to the west, so we're hoping to get these elite runners through in the next couple of hours, and then maybe even get some of the average folks, the everyday people, in before the downpour comes this morning. We are going to take you out live now this morning. We've got Samika Knight out at mile 4. She's at White Oak Bayou. Good morning, Samika.
Good morning. Well, I'll tell you, one reason why the Houston Marathon is so popular is because of the crowd support. And I tell you, we're in between the 3 and the 4 mile marker. And I tell you what, the crowd is out here. You'll hear bells. You'll hear the bullhorn. In fact, Larry out here, he has the bullhorn. And I don't know if you can hear him or not. A little sarcasm there. And Larry says he's a former Houston Marathon runner. He says because of a busted knee, he could not run. So for the past 6 to 7 years, he's been out here blowing the bullhorn for these runners. He talks about how important it is to have this crowd support. We also have family members along this line here. They're supporting their loved ones. We spoke to a little girl in elementary school. She's holding a TV, watching Channel 13, hoping to see her mom and dad in the crowd. But just in case she doesn't see them on TV, she hopes that they will be able to see her balloon way up there. She told them she'll have a balloon, and that will let them know that she's out here supporting them. The aunt of that little girl, she got emotional talking about the crowd support. She started crying. crying. She says because she used to be a Houston Marathon runner as well, and she says it is heartwarming to see the crowds here on the sidelines cheering you on. She says it gets really tough, so just to see people cheering you on, it helps you push through a little more. So as I said, the crowds are out here, a lot of fun, a lot of energy between the 3 and 4 mile marker, as you can see with some of the runners and also with the crowd. I'm gonna throw it back to you guys.
Samika needs these headphones.
Yeah, I think some of the runners were going past him saying, hang on, that horn's annoying.
Well, make sure you're nice and awake out there, you know. Don't get lulled into complacency while you're running next to that guy.
Exactly.
You know, as Samika talked about, there's so many just regular folks out there. A lot of folks are not elite runners. Everybody's got their own challenges, and some of their stories are truly amazing. Stories of determination and sacrifice.
Tracy, like every other runner on the streets of Houston this morning, has put in hours upon hours of training for this one event.
Those tree roots are probably get to you all the time, right?
I did one treadmill.
And even though this is his 25th marathon, this one will be totally different from all the others.
My eyesight has kind of deteriorated a little bit during that time.
Over the years, Tracy has lost the majority of his vision.
So it's kind of like looking through this, and so if I'm in an area I'm really familiar with and there's not a lot of parked cars for me to run into and things, I can run pretty good.
This year, he's worried that his old tactics of following someone through the course won't work and that he will hurt himself, or worse, someone else.
At home, at work, I can get along, but running with a lot of people, I'm a danger to them more than myself, I think.
Come on over to my left.
All right.
That's where Luis comes into the picture.
Yeah, okay, there's a little dip coming up right here.
Luis has been guiding visually impaired athletes for years now, and this year will be guiding Tracy to what he hopes will be his best marathon yet.
It was really exciting and inspiring to do it.
Luis is part of a non-profit group called See Different, which helps blind athletes compete in endurance events like the Chevron Houston Marathon.
And as the Houston running community and triathlon community begins to grow and we have more races here, more blind athletes in the local area are starting to come out and train with us and run with us, and it's growing. Fantastic.
So you have to completely be on your A game. You have to completely be awake. You can't just zone out and just go with the flow of the race. You actually have to pay attention to what's coming to you and be able to share that with the athlete. Another runner.
Unlike the visually impaired athlete who's training for 1 or 2 events, Luis and his other guides have to be Ironman ready all year round.
I'm always ready for a marathon. I could always run 26 miles pretty easy. I mean, it's never easy, but I know I could always do it.
Though today the focus is on Tracy and how he hopes See Different can help him continue to do what he loves, even after he loses his eyesight.
Luis is kind of going to be my blocking back. He's going to be my lead. I'll be Foster. I'll dance through the holes that he opens. So he'll do all the hard work, and I'll get all the glory when I finish the finish line.
Inspiring.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea before I did that package that something like that even existed for people.
Yeah, there are a number of blind runners on the course today, all
That's
being
amazing.
led by those people who volunteer for them.
It is. One of the hardest things for the guy leading is you're so stiff the whole time.
Right.
He's got to be so incredibly fit because he's not running his race. He's got to be comfortable and smooth, and he can't falter because if he falters,
right,
they're really kind of stuck out in the cold.
Yeah, and they are running for a reason. And we have 22,000 people on the course this morning. We'll show you a lot more of them when the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon comes right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the running of the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the El Paso 5K Fun Run. We've got a bit of a wet morning out here. In fact, it's raining hard enough here outside the George R. Brown Convention Center that we have water dripping off our canopy.
It is not. It is. Yeah. The water is a big problem.
Yeah.
One, the slipperiness shouldn't be an issue because the shoes should be able to handle most of it. If you're wearing shoes that slip, that's a mistake that should have been handled before. The problem is if your feet get wet, the shoes are going to get heavy. The blisters you're going to deal with. The weight of your clothing will become an issue. The hat's an interesting issue that there's a lot of people out there wearing hats. It's one of those mixes where, okay, if it's a cold day, a hat's perfect. If it's a hot day, you're actually retaining heat in the body, which actually is a problem. But now you want a hat to keep the rain off of you. At the same time, your temperature, because it's so humid, your body temperature is rising so much, it could actually be a problem. So it's kind of a juggling act with comfort and what will actually make you run faster.
Wow, very interesting. Let's take you out to Bob Slovak. He is at the 2 mile mark still this morning at the Elysian Viaduct. Good morning, Bob.
All right, hey, thank you very much, and it is a good morning out here. You know, I don't know if it's the weather, the rain, what, but I've never seen the runners so giddy out here. A lot of people having a lot of fun. Of course, this is just the 2-mile marker. I'll get out of the way and let you take a look. We have a lot of half marathoners still coming over the viaduct here. There you see it. A lot of happy folks here smiling and having a good time. John Warren rolled his eyes when I said this is good weather for the average runner. I'm a warm weather runner. You won't catch me running in cold weather, so that's why I said that. And I think a lot of people are having a good time. They may be a little more taxed when they get to the end of the course, but right now at this 2-mile marker, having a great time. There you see the runners still coming over the viaduct, as we said, close to 30,000 today in all 3 races. All 50 states represented, as well as 18 countries, and we may have an American winner today in the marathon with Brett Goetzer, so we shall see what happens there. But the runners coming through, I just saw a mom and 2 little boys running together. You see that here as the marathon has grown over the years. It is a family affair, a friends affair, a lot of people running for some very good causes. It's going to be a great day. A little bit of rain in the area, but hey, how you doing? We're doing good. We're doing good. I'm going to head to the finish line now, as the half marathon winners will be coming in about 25 minutes. So I will see you down there, guys. Back to you.
So you know what I noticed is a number of these. Now these are part fashion statement, part medical equipment. These are those compression stockings that more and more runners are wearing, and I guess they're very important. We'll talk about that in just a second. These are pretty bright.
Yeah, very bright. I can imagine they are great for circulation. I wonder, and we'll talk to John about the heat factor, because I know they can be very warm. So on a day like today, maybe questionable wearing those.
All right, let's find out what's going on at the halfway mark to the marathon. That's where we find out with his news reporter Ted Oberg. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning, Tom. Here at the corner of Montrose and Richmond, we're at the turnaround, so almost 9 miles in. This is where the half marathon will turn right there. And I'll tell you, here is where this kind of rain could really play a real role. Montrose is pretty slick this morning. It's not enough rain to make it uncomfortable for the crowd. And by the way, this is one of the biggest crowds we've seen here in the last few years. But it is enough to make this road really slick. All the oil that falls off of our cars, well, it's not getting washed away, and it's just making this road pretty slick. And the runners right behind me for the half marathon don't have to make a slight turn. They've got to make a complete U-turn. And so I would imagine that as the day goes by, if this rain doesn't let up, we may see a few slips and falls here. And I talked with some of the medical people who are just about 100 yards behind me, and they say that is certainly one of the things they're concerned about. But they're also concerned, and Tom, you've brought this up, about what this wet weather could do to people's socks, and really creating some serious blisters at this point in the race as they go on and just run step after step after step with wet socks and wet shoes and just all that wet clothing on them. It is quite warm. This is the warmest marathon morning that I remember in the last 5 or 6 years, which I said is great for this group here. And the best sign I've seen so far, by the way, guys, that I want to show you is Faith's high five. Show me that, Faith. Look at this. Now, you might not be able to tell what it is, but it's the F-I-V-E, and she raises up her hand. It's a high five for 3 of her friends who are running today, which I think is the greatest idea I've seen so far covering a lot of these things. She said you might not get it first off, but it gives you something to think about for the next mile as you run down the course here, either making the turn for the half marathon and heading for home, or heading for the full marathon for a lot more. As I look down the street, David, come with me just a little bit. You can see the pace truck right behind me, probably a couple hundred yards behind. We're about 40 minutes into this race, and that is a pretty good pace for them. So far, we've seen a couple of the wheelchair runners and a couple walkers who left, way before the sun came up. But this is our first chance to see some of these elite runners come by running the half marathon, and this is also our first chance to see just how serious a problem it could be making this turn. Get a little bit of this garbage out of the street so that they don't trip on that. But anyway, here they come, and we'll take a look. John and Tom, you probably know better who's there at the head of the pack. But it's always exciting to see these people run. It is not the kind of motion that you see sort of in the pack. These are elite athletes that run with sort of a lightness to their body that it's awesome to see every year. I'm sort of awed by just how easy it is for them to take step after step after step, and the look on their face is almost like, no big deal, I'm just walking to the front yard to get my morning paper. So here they come, first 4 HPD motorcycles. motorcycles and then a couple police cars, and you can see this big truck just behind them.
Men's leaders this morning as they approach the 9-mile mark in the marathon. I know, John, from this distance it's a bit difficult to tell who's who, but you certainly know from past experience the jerseys.
Right. The front two are going to be the Rabbits. Nick and Merger, they're going to be the front two. Then right in the green jersey, the second green jersey is Brett Gocher. So he's going in as the race favorite. The other people up there are John Cales, that we mentioned is normally a Rabbit. Is last year Hussein Adela, who ran 2:09.09, actually has the best PR coming into this race. And there's the late ad. I'm going to get my words screwed up here. Teleso, I think. Burkina Teleso is a late ad. I'm wondering. I'm not sure who the other Kenyan runner is.
Yeah, I don't see David Cherry out there.
I'm just trying to figure out who it is. It's not Martin Fagan. No, obviously.
I know Martin.
And I'm trying to see who the additional runner is in this race. I thought it might be Chariot, and I can't check to find. We'll try to get a better view of this somewhere and try to get some feedback from the truck.
All right, David Chariot, the famous Kenyan runner, 40 years old now, 3-time winner of the Houston Marathon. His best time here, 2:10.36. We don't expect him to make that today, but he could challenge the seniors. What am I trying to say?
The Masters.
The Masters, thank you. Right. Not the seniors. He's not exactly a senior, but the Masters, which is over 40, right?
Right, the over 40 record. It was set in 1998, I believe, and it's 2:16.45.
Okay.
So he's got to wait. He could easily make that today, and the weather is decent enough for that to happen.
All right.
On the women's side, you've got really a 3-woman race going on. It's going to be Belenche Gebra, Ashu Kasim, and Mamutu Daska. Daska was kind of a latish add to this whole deal, so she won't even have a name on her jersey. She ran 2:24 at Dubai last year. Talk about big money races. She won $250,000 by winning that race.
And what about Stephanie Rothstein? She's the only woman, really, from the American side who even had really a shot at winning today.
Right. She's trying to run under 2:30.
Okay.
And so her chance of winning is her best marathon ever is 2:40, and she says she's a completely different runner right now because she had some gluten issues and her iron is back up, and so that 2:40 doesn't count. That was a different person. But 2:23 is a little bit heavy for her.
Okay.
Her hope is that they go out too fast. This is Gebra's never run under 2:31. She ran a 2:31 in Honolulu last year, which is hot and humid, but she did that from the unofficial entered side. She wasn't an elite athlete. And they actually tried to get her disqualified because she was getting water and aid from her boyfriend who was running the race as well. And they said since she wasn't actually officially entered, she didn't get the elite water station, that she was able to keep the money and keep the win.
All right, bird's eye view of the lead runners here this morning, the 39th annual Chevron Houston Marathon. We'll talk shoes and socks and more when we come back.
My name is Veli-Matti Nikala, and I'm the president of ABB's Process Automation Division based here in Houston. ABB is proud to be the title sponsor for the Team Challenge. Over 150 teams are competing this year, representing companies, running clubs, charities, and other organizations. As the energy capital of the world, it is important for ABB to be part of Houston business community. ABB and our employees also value the opportunity to support the communities where we live. By sponsoring the Team Challenge, ABB is able to contribute to one of Houston's great civic events, which also helps raise awareness and funds for local charities. Congratulations to the marathon organizing committee, sponsors, volunteers, spectators, and runners for making this one of the city's most anticipated events. Good luck, runners. You make Houston proud.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon and the Aramco Half Marathon, the EP 5K. I'm Casey Curry, along with Tom Cook and our running expert from Rice University, John Warren. It is a drizzly, very warm and humid morning out there, and weather likely to be a factor for a lot of folks today.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a factor this morning as we get that rain, maybe heavier rain later on this morning. Don Nelson is standing by in the medical tent with the medical director. Good morning to you, Don.
All right, as you might imagine, the big question this morning was, in fact, the weather. That was the key thing for this race, the 39th running of the Houston Chevron Marathon. Dr. John Cianca has been doing this now for 14 years. He's been making sure everyone's medically sound when they come across the finish line, or at least somewhere along the race. But in this particular case, your other responsibility is making the call when it comes to weather. So when you woke up this morning, what were the decisions you were faced with, and still perhaps maybe at this point?
Well, our first concern was, is there lightning out near the course, which would be anywhere within 10 miles. And fortunately, there is not. With 15 minutes before the race, we had no lightning within 100 miles, so that made me feel good. The rain actually at this point is very light, so it's okay for conditions. So we won't stop because of rain. However, if lightning got into the field, we'd have to stop.
And you almost became the first person to be run over by the winner of the wheelchair race. That would have been headline, sir. Okay, so now you feel a little bit more comfortable, but with no question the elites will get in, but a rather significant rainfall could still happen while many are still out on the course. So what happens then?
Well, you know, again, if it just stays rain, we're going to keep them going. We don't want to stop the race. So it really would only be if lightning came within a 10-mile radius of the course. So in terms of the rain, yeah, people will get wet. We don't anticipate it's going to get cool. In fact, it's almost a little on the warm side, and the clouds and the light rain right now help us.
All right, speaking of warm side, there's the other factor of a race, that when it gets too warm or conditions are such that it's not good for running. Where were we at when we started this morning? Where are we at right now?
Well, you know, temperature-wise, we're in green flag, which is ideal conditions. I moved it to yellow simply because of the thunderstorm threat. So we're still in green flag. We'll probably go to yellow by 9 o'clock or so, largely based on temperature and humidity. The sun staying behind the clouds would be helpful. It would keep us in yellow as opposed to going to red. So I think I'm pretty confident we'll be in yellow most of the day, or green early on.
All right, now let's talk about medical attention. Inside the A section of the George R. Brown Convention Center is what appears to be a medical, almost a mini hospital setup. I mean, it's that thorough. What are you talking about? Able to treat? What do you see? What have you seen in the past 14 years, from the simplest to the serious?
Well, of course, you see lots of scrapes and blisters and things of that sort. Our podiatry and minor medical area handles that. We also see a lot of illness, hydrational illness, people dehydrated, people are tired. We see people that overhydrate, which is always a worry, much more serious than dehydration. And heat becomes an issue too. And so all those things are factors. We'll handle as much as we can handle. If there's an emergency, obviously we move them out as quick as we can, but we've handled those as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. John Cianca. He, of course, is the the medical director of the race here, and we are watching some of the runners come in. Let's go back up to you guys.
All right, we saw the wheelchair winner come in. We're also seeing some of those people who are racing to the finish line of the El Paso 5K. To see those two guys, to see who would be the first.
I love the spirit of competition.
I absolutely do,
Amazing.
too.
You know, Dom was just talking about the weather, and I've been in communication with meteorologist David Tillman in the Weather Center, checking lightning more than anything, because that's our big issue today. He let me know that the only lightning strikes we've seen so far are out in the Gulf and over towards the Louisiana state line. So that's good news so far this morning, but it does show you that the potential is there. The atmosphere is ready. So fingers crossed.
All right,
I think they're going to make it.
Yeah, I think they will too. John is betting that the elite runners make it in before the big rain. Well, we are at the halfway mark with Elisa Rivas at Edlow near the Southwest Freeway. And good morning to you, Elisa.
Good morning. We're exactly at Edlow and University between mile marker 13 and 14, and I'm actually able to stand out here in the middle of the race course because the runners are not to us yet. As you know, the elite runners will get to us a little bit after 8 o'clock, so it's a little bit quiet out here now. But regardless of what you're doing with the rain, the weather, we are expected to have a lot of spectators. They'll come out here usually a little bit later in the morning, 250,000 expected throughout the day today. Hopefully the rain won't keep them in. Let's talk about the runners though. This is a lot of hard work going on out here. An estimated 48 million calories are going to be burned as runners run the Chevron Houston Marathon today. And take a look behind me at these tables. Also, 8,537 gallons of Gatorade consumed on race day. That's a lot, and 350,000 compostable paper cups will be used along the water stations, all along the race course. So a lot of stuff consumed out here, and that's regardless of the weather, because 26.2 miles, the runners are going to need it. Back to you.
Yeah, they really are. It's a warm day out there, John. Let's talk for a minute about the kind of equipment people are wearing this year. There are actually some people running barefoot this year because that's kind of a new trend in running. There are some people wearing those five-fingered running sandals. And then you have the elite runners who are wearing this, which is a shoe that weighs virtually nothing. You will not see, though, the elite runners wearing these compression socks, will you?
Shalane Flanagan wore those last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she would wore those on her legs and her arms. And Paula Radcliffe, the world record holder in the women's marathon, used to wear those all the time. She was ahead of her time with those. So people laugh, and she looked kind of goofy with small buns and long socks on.
The idea is it helps the circulation.
Definitely, definitely.
Now, what about the heat factor, though, on a day like today? You wouldn't want to wear something like this.
I think it depends on how much you think you need the circulation. I don't know how much it helps elite runners. If you don't have an issue, your circulation should be fine. Blood, you're using your legs at a very high rate, high intensity. Blood should be flowing without a problem down to the lower legs.
It is really flowing at mile 9, believe me. That's the turnaround point, and that's where Eyewitness News reporter Ted Oberg is this morning. Ted, good morning once again.
Good morning, Tom. They've started to sand the turn here. You can see the sand that's down on the road there, and with good reason. The leader in the half marathon nearly took a spill, and the man who's running in third or fourth place actually fell down right here. The road is very slick. No rain here at the corner of Montrose and Richmond, almost at mile 9 at the turnaround for the half marathon, but it is a very slick surface. And to this point now, the people who are making this turn here have to come to a near standstill to make this this U-turn here, which certainly will affect their time at least by a couple seconds. But thankfully, the volunteers are out here telling them to slow down enough so that they don't slip. We've already seen some of that. Didn't look like he was hurt all that severely, but nonetheless, not what you want with 4 miles left to go here in this half marathon, certainly close to the front of the pack. But for the rest of the marathon runners, it seems to be okay. Not a whole lot of turning here where we are, so we don't know how that's going, but it seems that they're going okay, and I haven't seen too many slips and falls on the full marathon course. Don, Tom, John?
Thank you, Ted. Yeah, that's a dangerous situation when you get slick streets out there and you have a lot of people who are anxious to get around that turnaround point.
Well, and it's nice to see they're kind of directing everybody. They took the precautions of putting the sand out. It's got to help a little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah, falling kind of makes it a little bit less fun out there.
Yes.
But yeah, but the slippery surfaces will occur when you have hairpin turns. It shouldn't make a difference on the way on a regular stride. The speed they're not going fast enough to really get a lot of slippage.
All right, we will slip away for one brief minute, a commercial break, and then more of the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon as the mayor watches this morning right after this.
This is the Texas Children's Hospital annual fun run. This is the 14th year.
My name is Brian and I run really fast.
There's 89 schools.
My name is Nicholas and this is my first run.
It's a 3K race.
My name is Tatiana and this is my second race.
This is big.
Go Sammy, go. Good luck, kids.
Our emphasis at Children's Hospital is in getting kids well and keeping them well. And we feel like physical activity is a key part of keeping kids healthy. We have a cap at 5,000, so we're sold out. And each one of those 5,000 runners is going to come with a parent or a teacher, and so this is a really big event. They get to start at the start line. They get to finish at the finish line. Many of these kids have 8 weeks of training, and we really hope some of that carries over in terms of their physical activity. Down here, it's big and they finish, but the notion that they can run and they can finish and they can get in shape, that really is, I hope, one of the legacies of today. When you stand along the race course and you see the kids, some of them are racing to win, and some of them are just glad to be part of it, and some of them just want to finish it, and the parents and the kids. It's an awesome event. When you see the kids' faces, when they come across, it's just thrilling. I almost get tearful when I think about it.
All right.
For some of the kids, it's really an accomplishment. They haven't done anything like this before. They have never finished anything like this.
Y'all did so great!
It's not a race as much as it's fun.
And that is fun. What is not fun, though, is a 5-year-old today running the half marathon. Yeah, and 10-year-olds running the marathon, 10 years old.
So amazing when I saw that on our sheet today, that there are so many kids under the age of 15 running either the half or the full.
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing. And it's so nice to see kids, because this really is the beginning. It's not,
it really is.
You know, it's about finishing things. It's about the marathon.
Fitness
it's about
for life.
Fitness for life, you know, and this is what it's all about. And you can see there's older folks out here who've been running this race for many years.
Yeah, the oldest person today was born in 1929. We have an 82-year-old out there running the marathon today. We also have 2 members of our Eyewitness News family. We have weekend anchor Adele Uchida, who's hoping to run the Houston Full Marathon today fast enough to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Azad is running the half marathon, hoping to set a new personal record. And we have been keeping up with Sonia's training. And believe me, we found out it involves a lot more than just running.
Oh, some friends just got me into running. I was never a runner growing up. I was a ballet dancer, and so running was a way that I could kind of keep the physical activity going just in a different way. I started running in about 2004. I stick typically to half marathons. I've done 8 or 9 of them. My main goal for this half marathon is to run it in 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's about 5 or 6 minutes faster than I did last year. And last year was my fastest half marathon. That was here in Houston. I ran it in about 1:50. In the past, when I've been training for half marathons, I've discovered that I have a lot of problems with my knees. I think that's because I haven't properly strengthened the muscles around my knees while I was also running.
Good, and back up and try not to bend over as much.
So I started cross training in order to kind of keep my lower body strength.
Because the main place you're trying to feel this all right here.
I've been lifting weights with a trainer.
You want to make sure that you hit the whole body, because you don't want to have any muscle imbalances. You want to make sure that you work your biggest muscle groups for sure, which are going to be your legs, your back, your chest, and your shoulders.
Inhale, right leg rises. This time exhale.
And I do a lot of yoga. I do yoga 3 or 4 days a week.
Opening the heart on the inhale. Exhale, hips high. By the deeper breathing, you become more internally focused, and so you're going to be able to overcome that wall that a lot of athletes will hit. So yoga helps in the mental aspect of that, as well as the physical strength and flexibility.
It's helped my knees, it's helped my hips, and it definitely helps in the tightness with my hamstrings and my quads. So I'm doing everything I can with cross training. I want to be able to feel good when I cross the finish line.
You go, Sonia.
Yeah, we're definitely pulling for Sonia and Adela. We hope to be checking with them on the course. We've got more coming up from the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon coming up after the break. But as we go to break, here's some of your pictures and video sent into our Eyewitness News website.
I look forward to seeing you at the finish line. Good luck.
Aramco Services is proud to sponsor the Houston Half Marathon for 3 reasons. First, we are part of this community. We have been in Houston for 35 years. Second, it's a great program to promote health and wellness of our employees and their family members. And third, it's really to support the local charities in the community, such as the American Cancer Society, the Houston Food Bank, and many others. You really have to be there to appreciate the excitement and the level of human energy involved. Just picture 300,000 people or so out there, between runners, spectators, volunteers. It's an amazing sight. Our employees want to be involved. We have about 300 volunteers that will participate in this event, and also about 40 runners or so that will participate in the 3 races. It's going to be a great event. You're going to see world-class runners, and who knows, you may see some of your friends and neighbors as well.
10 years in running for the Aramco Half Marathon, and we are just close to being near the finish for the Aramco Half Marathon. And this year there really are no elites in the Aramco Half Marathon, and that's because the World Championships were yesterday here, run on Saturday, John Warren, as a preview to next year's Olympic trials.
Right, it's really kind of a neat setup. This is the first time they've ever done this. It's a bunch of first times. This is the first time next year in 2012 that the men's and women's U.S. trials will be held in the same course.
For the marathon.
For the marathon. They did a half marathon championship, which they done for years here, but they did it on a separate day on a preview of that course. So the course is set up to mimic the London course in many ways with a lot of U-turns, which is a very slow way to run. But the runners really liked it. You do all these U-turns, you can keep an eye where your competition is, you know how you feel and how they're responding. It just was a great setup yesterday.
As we look at the leaders in the half marathon as they round the last turn coming into downtown London, as you say, being the 2012 Olympic site, obviously that's what the qualifying is for here next year.
Right, and a lot of the runners that are trying to make it, I mean, in addition to Gocher, you had Ryan Hall yesterday who ended up getting second. He set the American record in 2007 on the course they're running today. He had a little bit of a break. He felt flat. He changed coach. He actually has no coach. He coaches himself. Took a month off in October, so he's just coming back now, and he barely got out-kicked by Mo Trafa at the very end. Mo Trafa was born in Morocco, but he became a U.S. citizen about 3 years ago, and they had a great race. Ran what is relatively a pretty fast time if you don't take into account his American record that he set.
You recognize this guy? This is the leader in the half marathon this morning.
I don't recognize him. He's a local runner. Might be Dan Kahn, because he's a local runner. His name I don't know.
Time, I guess.
This is a decent time.
Yeah. We were expecting 110 maybe. He's just under 108 or just over 108.
Yeah, in an extreme case, 108 is not. Well, I take it back. That's a great time for a local runner for a race like this. When you take all the elites out, there's no elite prize money. It's all local prize money today. 108 will place very, very well in anything but a super elite race. A lot of the guys who yesterday ran 65, 66 minutes. Wow. So he wouldn't have been bad there.
The winner, 108.27 unofficially in the half marathon. And as John said, we think it's a local runner here.
No, I don't think he's local. he looks way too good.
John?
No, I mean, he finishes. Looks like he did this as a workout.
John Warren.
Yeah, it looks like he just did it. He's like, this is no big deal. I mean, he's got to be getting ready for something big. Yeah. That was an easy run. I mean, unless he just, he loves humidity and heat. He's a very impressive run right there. 68 flat almost.
Can't wait until Bob finds out who this guy is.
Exactly, and there's Bob Slovak down there. We'll get to him in just a second. And as good as that time is, obviously, the elite half marathoners running in sub 1 hour.
Right, the very, very, very good ones. The scary thing is the world record is 58:23. To put it in perspective, that's
10 minutes.
Those are sub 14-minute 5Ks for over 4.
Wow.
In a row.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It's 4:27 a mile.
Can we drive that fast?
You can.
Yeah, I can.
I know you can.
I can't. That was a great run there this morning. And we are feeling the raindrops coming from behind us. We have the finish line right here outside the George R. Brown Convention Center as we look there. Yeah, Bob Slovak's got the half marathon winner. Bobby, introduce us.
Yeah, his name is Jeffrey Eggleston. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And he's from Flagstaff, Arizona. And they just mentioned when you came across the finish line, you looked like you just went for a stroll in the park. How was the run?
Oh, it was nice. It's a little rainy today, but I ran yesterday in the half marathon and I wasn't feeling great, so I wanted to come out again, and it's just a nice venue to be here and also race again.
Wait a minute, now you ran in the U.S. Championships yesterday?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I had an off race. I had to drop out at 8 miles.
Okay.
But I'm not injured or anything, so I decided I'd come back today and just give it another whirl. I really like the half course. I ran here in 2009, and it's a wonderful course and, a wonderful city.
What a difference a day makes. So 8 miles yesterday, you didn't feel good. You come back today, do the full 13, and you go into 108.25, something like that. How's that time set up for you? Is it a personal best?
No, my best, I ran 103.59 here in 2009, but, today I was just kind of in cruise control and just enjoying being out there and running.
All right, Jeffrey, we have a presentation here from Aramco.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey, so much. You've done a wonderful job. It looked so effortlessly. So you've earned this. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, guys.
Again next year.
I'll see you at the trials for sure.
Fantastic.
Definitely. First belt buckle, or you got a collection?
This is my first belt buckle, and I'll definitely cherish this. This is awesome. So,
all right, congratulations, Jeffrey Eggleston from Flagstaff, Arizona. 8 miles yesterday, came back 13 more. He's your half marathon winner. Back to you guys.
It was a walk in the park for him, John. That's amazing.
Right, that's a pretty good double, but obviously yesterday turned into be just a warm-up for him.
Yeah, that's true.
He's from Flagstaff. He must be with the same group, McMillan Racing, that Stephanie Rothstein and that Brett Gocher trained with. So he's not just the local guy with a job. He's doing this for a high level. 63.59 personal best is a sign that he is very, very good. Now,
he was so
nonchalant about it, too. He's like, oh, yeah, it just didn't go so well yesterday.
He's qualified for the trials already, so which is 2:19.
Yeah.
So that's not a whole lot slower. He'd have to do that and then do it again almost to be able to make the trials. So that really was just almost a tempo run.
Can we go back to Sky just for a second? We'll show you the leaders in this race, the full marathon race. This is where the big money is today because Jeffrey Egglestein won $750 for his win today in the half marathon. Whoever tops the marathon list today will get $35,000, the man and woman's winner. I guess the prize money's down this year for the half marathon just because there are no big elites in it.
But they had prize money yesterday.
That's true.
Yesterday,
so for this,
prize money was really big.
For this, it's just the minimal money, $750 for first place. As you look at our pace cam, they look like they're in pretty good stride, Casey.
Yeah, we've got two different pace cams. The camera on the left, that is our
men's leaders.
The men's leaders. On the right is our women's leaders. You will see men in the women's leaders group because those are what the rabbits for them. So, John, who have we got? Looks like kind of the crowd's thinned out for the men.
Right. It looks like there's only two left. The rabbits I don't know if I know one rabbit's dropped off. It looks like what's happened is you've got behind him in the green.
Oh, there's Brett Gocher with his
Brett Gocher's running with Nick Garciana, and I think this is Wilfred Mergor running with, I'm going to guess, John Cales. I can't tell right now, but I probably have some information here on it. But
Mergor would be the rabbit.
Mergor would be the rabbit. In the yes, it's Mergor and Tulisa, the late ad. We had a very late ad put in the race.
So they're just past the halfway point.
They're a little bit further beyond that. They just went through, I think they went through 14 miles. They came through the half at a really quick pace. They were 64:17 at the half, which actually would have placed quite well yesterday in the half.
Is the rabbit talking to him at all through the race?
Normally not. It just gets annoying because you know he's going to drop out. What normally happens is if the runner wants to do something different and it's only two of them, they'll direct the rabbit to some degree.
Are the women talking to each other at all?
I doubt it. They've got one rabbit. He's hitting one pace, and they know if they can hang with him, they'll probably end up winning.
Don't waste your breath on conversation. Is that it?
Right. But I kind of have a theory. If you can't run 10 miles and be able to have a conversation in this, you're in trouble. Oh. You need to feel really good by the 10-mile point. Oh, I mean, really, really good. Because it's still a long way. Yeah. Even these guys, they come through 10 miles in like 40. They came through in 49 minutes today, but they still have well over an hour to run. So the idea is that it's got to be. It's just like the very beginning of a jog. If you're doing a 5-mile jog and you're struggling at a mile, it's going to be a tough day.
Well, there you have it.
And a long day ahead for a lot of folks out there this morning. Don't go away. We have more of our live coverage of the Chevron Houston Marathon coming up after the break. Welcome back, everybody, to our live coverage of the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the EP5K. You're watching some of the half marathon winners. That
was the woman's winner in the half marathon, crossing the finish line in just over 1 hour 16 minutes. That's a pretty good time, John.
This is Colleen DeRook. She's 46 or 47 years old.
Get out.
Yeah, she's won this race a number of times in the U.S. level of it.
Yeah, she's world famous.
She's been a phenomenal runner since I was in high school. I mean, seriously, she was in South Africa back then and couldn't run internationally. That's how long ago it was. It was back when South Africa was limited to they hadn't gotten rid of apartheid. And this is for her to win this even at the open level shows how good she is. She's going to run the trials next year, more as a swan song type thing. But she'll be 47. She'll be 48 years old, I think, next year running the trials.
South Africa, right?
No, she's U.S. citizen now. U.S. citizen now. Yeah.
How's that time compare? 1:16. Good time for today?
Oh, very good time. Very good time. I'm curious if that's the Masters record here. She set that last year, and it's going to be really close. That 1:16 is just a phenomenal time for any woman, any man too, but any woman at elite level to do that at that age is unbelievable. I'm sure it's her age group world record. She did that. She's done that every year she's run here. She's set that exact age world record, 46, 47 type.
All right, just over 1 hour 16 minutes.
And as we've talked about today, most of the people out here are not elite runners. They are just kind of everyday folks, and a lot of them are running for a reason. And we've talked a lot about this in years past. These are the folks that are running for one of the recognized charities, 52 of charities that are recognized by the marathon, and they're raising money to go towards those. One of those folks is Kevin Klein. You know him from the radio, 93Q. He is running for Snowdrop Foundation, and it all started several years ago when he met a young girl named Chelsea.
I have a new best friend. Met her Thursday. We got here, we started broadcasting 5 o'clock in the morning. She showed up at 8 o'clock. She's 15 years old. Her name's Chelsea.
So she sat there with him all day long. All day long.
She's battling undifferentiated sarcoma.
So I'm thinking, oh, 50% chance, and she can do that.
She has tumors on the soft tissues of her body. Kidneys, lungs, liver. She's got them in her back. You know what those tumors are? Those are mounds of fire ants eating her insides. They bite, they sting, they attack. That's what they're doing to my best friend.
And he tells us 10%, and I'm just like, oh my God, do we treat her?
She told the doctor when she was diagnosed, when you tell my mom something, I want you to tell me something. I can handle it. I want to know. Doctor said, okay, what do you want to know? And she said, have you, doctor, ever had a patient survive this? He shook his head and he said, no. She smiled at him. She stood up, extended her hand, and said, congratulations. You just met your first.
But I will tell you this, that it also changed Kevin Klein's life. I mean, forever.
In February of '06, she had a record-setting surgery at Texas Children's Hospital.
You know, he was there with the 26-hour surgery that she went through at Texas Children's Hospital, which was just incredible.
They called it a marathon surgery, and when I was able to see her in the ICU unit, I told her that I was going to run a marathon for her.
And she's like, you can't even walk, and you're going to run? You know, so she really gave him a hard time.
And so I started training in August of '06 for the 2007 Chevron Houston Marathon, which was my first race that I ever ran, and I got hooked.
When they had told Chelsea she probably wouldn't make it to 16, she had told Kevin, she said, well, I want to run. So Kevin's mind starts working.
My wife and I decided to adopt the whole entire family. When it was apparent to my wife and I that Chelsea was going to reach her 16th birthday, we set the wheels in motion to start Snowdrop Foundation.
And so on her 16th birthday, they had it incorporated, and he gave it to her for her birthday.
You can take out, yep, you can take.
Benefits children at Texas Children's for cancer research, and then it also goes for pediatric cancer patients and survivors. We give them college scholarships.
At the very beginning when Snowdrop was created, my thinking was, you know, he's going to run the local marathons here around Houston or in Texas or something, but he's gone all over the world.
After I ran that first marathon, I decided, you know, there's a ton of different other stories that need to be told. There's survivors out there, and what I wanted to do was kind of go around and tell their story through my running. And so in December of 2009, I decided to run solo from Dallas to Waco to Austin to New Braunfels to San Antonio, and then across Highway 90 into Houston. So over 13 days I ran 470 miles, which averages out to about 35 miles a day. We used it as a fundraising event for Snowdrop Foundation and ended up raising about $200,000. The purpose behind the excessive running, the ultra endurance running, and these kind of what I call stressing my body to the max runs, they're to symbolically show what these children go through. I'm running on a treadmill. If that treadmill stops, I go down. If a child with cancer, they stop fighting, they go down. And they ultimately go down by their loss of life.
I said those words a year ago. Tomorrow it starts the same way today that it ended then, with me crying. Because yesterday I had the very unpleasurable honor of carrying Chelsea to her grave.
Chelsea and those kids on the cancer floor have put a hole in Kevin Klein's heart. And he's going to do everything he can do to try to fill that hole.
I literally don't run for myself. I don't run for time. I don't run for any other reason but to honor and memorialize these children.
I don't think Kevin will ever stop doing what he's doing until he's just physically capable of doing it.
Kevin Klein runs for Chelsea and Snowdrop Foundation, and he's just one of the many people running for so many reasons. Last year, a record $1.8 million raised.
For $2 million this year.
For $2 million this year. Don't go away. We have more coverage of the Chevron Houston Marathon after the break.
Welcome back to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. Look at this. Somebody turning around at the halfway point of the half marathon, almost going down. We did have one person slip and fall to the ground. They were not harmed this morning, but that gives you an idea of just the slippery conditions out here with a light rain falling and some oil and other things out in the Houston streets mixing for a slippery combination.
Wow. And it's warm, it's wet. We know that the roads are a little slick out there, but as John's been talking about, as long as everybody's running straight, it's not such an issue. It's these turns that become a problem for everybody. We're also seeing lightning hold off. We haven't seen any lightning close in just yet. It's all been out in the Gulf, and so all is good right now in marathon land.
Yeah, Colleen Durouk just won the women's half marathon. Not a bad time, a 1:16:28, and Bob Slovak caught up with her just a second ago. Bob?
Colleen Durouk.
Yeah.
And you won here a few years ago, right?
Yeah, a good few years ago. When I was a little bit younger, I won here.
How was the race for you today?
It was great. The weather held up, so we were lucky with that. It was wonderful out there. There were so many spectators along the course, so you know you had positive feedback the whole way.
Yeah, it was your time okay? I know it's kind of rainy and slick.
My time was okay for where I am, so it was a good judge to see how fit I am. I've been struggling with a hamstring injury, so I've just been dealing with that.
All right, I'm going to bring in Mohammed Belushi from Aramco with the presentation, the winner's belt buckle.
Congratulations, and on behalf of Aramco Service Company, we present you with this.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. Thank you.
You should have at least 2 of those now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right, congratulations. And your husband is still running out there?
Yeah, he should be finishing soon.
Colleen Durouk, the women's champion in the half marathon. Congratulations.
Thanks, Bob. Colleen Durouk, 46 years old, as we said, world famous in the running circles.
And I love my husband's still out there. He'll be at end shortly.
He'll never catch up to me. Well, El Paso has sponsored the fun run, the kids fun run, and the fun run here today. It's a 5K fun run. Brent Smolik is the president of Exploration Production for El Paso, who ran it himself, just finished the 5K. How'd you do this morning?
Did pretty well. Yeah.
Considering you just had
knee surgery back in December, so
wow.
But it held up okay today. So
that's pretty amazing. It felt good.
News.
Glad to have you guys with us again.
Yeah, it's great to be part of the event. We've sponsored now 4 years the 5K, and we've just recently signed up for another 3 years.
Awesome. What gets you guys involved in something like this?
There's not that many events that you can point to that everybody wins on. If you look at it, the City of Houston is a great event. It's a great event for the employees of El Paso. It's a great opportunity to get involved volunteering or to get involved running and participating in the event. It's a great way for our employees to participate back in the city.
You have a lot of people not only volunteering but running as well today?
Yeah, we think we've got over 200 in all of the 3 events. I don't have the breakdown today, but at least 200 employees running in the events and probably close to that many volunteering today.
Don't tell me anybody beat the boss.
Oh, I think just about everyone beat the boss.
I love it. On a day like today,
the boss finished before dark.
But that's really something that you came back just after a short, quick turnaround for knee surgery.
I'm sorry?
You came back to run this race after a short turnaround from knee surgery.
Yeah. So it was very minor, just a scope, clean out a little meniscus work. Yeah, so it wasn't really knee surgery, not for people who've had real reconstructive kind of things. But yeah, the good news, it held up, and the weather held up today. Huh? It's really fantastic that it stayed the conditions as good as we have based on what we saw in the forecast.
Well, and do you find that it helps, having an event like this that everybody at work is rallying around, whether they're running or volunteering? Does it help the atmosphere at work at all?
Oh yeah. El Paso, we work really hard to promote health and wellness and getting people moving and getting people active. We have a program that we call Choose Well, and this is the exact example of it. If you get a chance to get out, get moving, get people energized, it translates to work. So people are healthier, happier, more energized, more excited. Less time away from work due to sickness and illness. It's just a good thing for everybody all the way around.
Good thing for everybody. I love it.
Brent Smolik, thanks. With El Paso, the president of Production and Exploration. We go to the halfway point, the turnaround point, and we have Ted there this morning with Sonia Azad. Good morning, Ted.
Hey, Tom. Sonia Azad, my colleague, just came up. She said so far she's running a great race. You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good. The weather is not that bad out here, even though it's raining a little. The crowd is great, and we're having a good race
race, I think.
And it's not too slick.
Not too slick. There are a bunch of water puddles, so you kind of have to watch out, and there are crowds kind of moving around the puddles at the same time. But other than that, it's totally fine.
I don't want to keep you. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
All right, bye.
She came by. She told us just before we came on that the weather really hasn't been a problem for her at all. There she goes, back headed for home. 4 more miles to go for Sonia Azad in the half marathon. Wanted to bring you up to date here. They've put a lot of sand down here at the turn for the half marathon. Sonia had no problem with it. A few of the runners, as you saw a couple minutes ago, have had some problems, and they're actually running out of sand here. So if this rain continues, we could see some problems as the pack really now here at the turn. This is when the marathon really gets fun for these crowds of spectators. And as you heard Sonia mention, it is a great crowd today. It's warm, it's a little rainy, but this is an awesome crowd considering the conditions that they have to stand in here for hours. And the smiles on runners' faces, for the most part, they're very happy as they go by here. Not a lot of grimacing, at least not yet. But we'll have to watch this. The slick conditions obviously persist, and the rain, at least here in the Montrose area, is picking up a little bit. Tom, Casey?
Yeah, that's why, Ted, we have donned our rain gear here on the table this
jackets
morning.
are on.
As we can feel the raindrops coming in behind us. And as you said earlier, they held off today, maybe coming by 10 o'clock?
Yeah, everything got delayed a little bit. That upper level low that's going to cause all the problems today is just kind of hanging back over kind of Mexico right now. And it's pushing our direction this morning. We thought earlier that this kind of rain we're seeing now, we would have seen 4, 5, 6 a.m. So everything got pushed about 4 or 5 hours. Now we're starting to see the rain come down. And coming up in just a bit, we'll go back to the Weather Center and check in with meteorologist David Tillman and see where the lightning is and all of that good stuff. Because so far, it's just been rain, and we can manage with that.
And so far, it really has not affected the elite runners, John Warren. As you said, they've been flying through the past couple of miles.
They are flying. They've thrown in a 4:30, 4:41, 4:38, and 4:33 over the last 3 miles. Bikina Talisa, he was the last-minute ad. That's why he shouldn't even have a name on his jersey. They didn't have time to print it up. And his PR coming in, he's only run one, is 2:14. He's on pace to set the record right now.
Wow.
Yeah, the record's 2:03, set last year.
2:07:37, right?
Right, by kind of a last-minute ad, too.
Yeah.
I think they're connected, but the same agent. And he had just been flying at this point. I don't know if there's a tailwind out there that's pushing him along, because it is significantly faster than what he's been doing. But 2:08 pace, he should have come to 18 at 1:27.50. He was 1:27.12.
Wow.
So he's way under pace right now.
And he is all by himself. I saw him turn around just a second ago, and he looked for whoever might be behind him. There's nobody even close. And as you look on the right side of your screen, those are the women who are running the marathon in the lead this morning with our pace cam. That guy out front is the Rabbit, who's still there, part of the pack.
Jenna Tufa, like I said, I think he's going to bring it all the way in for him. And it's the same. It's 2 women, Daska, who won the Dubai Marathon, and Ashu Kassim, who's actually the #1 seed. They were going for 222, 223 was their initial idea. They're more on 225, 226 pace now. But if either one of these women or the male can finish like Galina did last year and just fly over the last 6 miles, they could get back to 223 or 224.
All right, Teshome Galana not here this year. He had some visa problems getting into this country. He's from Ethiopia. But we have our winner out there in the front, and boy, that'd be great if we could set a new course record here today. Wow. We will see as we give you much more. The 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon after this.
To the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon, the Aramco Half Marathon, and the EP 5K. We've had the winners come in for the men's and the women's half marathon and also the 5K this morning. Now we are still watching the leaders, but the weather's gotten considerably worse. It's not dangerous technically yet because there's no lightning. We'll check in the ABC 13 Weather Center in a few minutes. But first, we want to go out live to Elisa Rivas. She is out in the West U area this morning. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Casey. Here at the halfway mark, we're starting to see our first big group of runners come through. I'm here with one of the volunteers in the area, Marilyn Eisenberg. You're waiting for your daughter, right?
Yes.
And she's coming through, you think, pretty soon?
She'll be through in 30 minutes or so, yeah.
What do you think of the spectator crowd? Does it deter you at all? Of course, you're here for your daughter, that the rain is here?
No. This is good. I mean, people who really care come out, and the rain is not so serious.
And show me just behind you, you've got an umbrella covering some of the snacks.
Well, we have pretzel sticks, which are a new thing. They're great. We have bananas, we have mints, and Kleenex, which is very surprising.
Everything that the runners need. Tell me, what is it like for you to watch their determination out here in the rain?
Oh, it's wonderful. It just excites me.
Well, good luck to you as you wait for your daughter, Marilyn.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that is the attitude of so many people that have come out here. Yes, it's wet, but everybody's out here with their umbrellas, of course. They figure if their loved one or their friend come out here and get out here and run it in the rain, the least they can do is support them. Back to you guys.
All right, I am also fully stocked with my goo. This is my energy squeeze container. Listen to this, lemon sublime. Does that not sound delicious?
That's what you need when you're out running, 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
You need something sublime if I'm going to get through
Lemon
it.
sublime. The weather is not sublime this morning.
It is not, and we've been telling you about the rain this morning. If you've kind of peeked outside, then you know what I'm talking about. Let's take you back to the ABC 13 studios. We've got meteorologist David Tillman live there this morning. He can give us the very latest on the rain and hopefully no lightning just yet. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Casey. About 30 minutes ago, Ted said there was not any rain where he was located. Then we saw him again, and the rain was beginning to pick up. Yes, the rain is picking up in downtown Houston right now. As a matter of fact, we're seeing some moderate rain just to the east of downtown there. This is Interstate 45 right here. This is Interstate 10, and this is the East Loop. This moderate rain is moving northeast, but certainly light rain is going to continue over parts of downtown for the next 30 minutes to an hour or so. Then we'll see a break, and then we'll see more move in. Good news, none of this rain that's occurring over Houston right now, even the moderate cells, contain any lightning at this time, but we are seeing some heavier cells to the east with a little bit of lightning in them. Those are moving away from us, and we also have some shower activity that's starting to intensify just to the south and west of Wharton. That will take a couple of hours to make it to Houston, but I do suspect that this is the beginning of the heavier rain that we've been talking about, and the rain that will most likely contain lightning once it makes it to the city. I think we're still about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from that making it in. Right now, temperatures are still in the 60s out there, low 60s across most of southeast Texas, and temperatures are going to hover in the low and middle 60s as we go through the marathon this morning. The humidity is still somewhat high out there. Wind is not a major problem. Wind at this time from the south and southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So things still look pretty good. There's some light rain out there, moderate rain just to the east of downtown. But right now, Casey, no lightning is occurring in southeast Texas.
Great. Thanks so much, David. So the good news is that the severe weather holding off, but it's not exactly comfortable. It's warm. It's wet out there, but at least not dangerous just yet.
Now, if you are inspired by this show as you watch runners today to get out there and run, do not skimp on shoes. This is really a well-built shoe for the average runner. This is for the elite runner, as we said. It weighs virtually nothing, but there is no padding at all. Now, some people have taken to running in sandals. Other people have taken into running in nothing at all. I mean, at least from the waist down or knees down. One guy is running barefoot. Jeff Allen ran his first Aramco half marathon last year, and he's looking to do it again, only this time without shoes.
It just made a lot of sense to try to make your foot as strong as possible and use the smallest amount of shoe rather than really weak feet and really big shoes.
Hillary Hayden, on the other hand, is taking on the full marathon this morning in her five-fingered shoes.
I think it's become slightly trendy right now.
Though Hillary didn't jump on the bandwagon because of a trend, her motivation comes after years of hip and knee issues.
I've been suffering from arthritis for a long time, since about the age of 12, and I've had a lot of knee pain.
Jeff also saw the benefit in going back to the basics.
Running injuries continue to increase, as well as technologies and prices of shoes, so I think it'd be beneficial if most people figured out how to use their foot instead of using a shoe.
The movement has been gaining strength because of its simplistic approach. In a nutshell, humans are built to run, and when you put on a shoe, you alter your running motion. In return, usually you get soreness and sometimes injury.
It takes a long time to adjust to it because we've been wearing shoes for so long, but taking the time and going slow, and once you get into it and you can get up a solid mileage, you'll be fine.
Experts say that barefoot running does have its place.
We do that at Rice. We have people warm up and cool down barefooted. We don't do workouts barefooted, and we don't do anything off the track or off our fields barefooted because we know they're going to be safe to run on.
But Warren says while they do it at Rice, it's not for everyone.
I think it's a little bit dangerous and hard to encourage people to actually go out and run barefooted because you could step on something and it would hurt. It's for a very small percentage of the people. Most people do not run voluntarily biomechanically correct. And only those that run biomechanically correct will really enjoy barefoot running, or wearing the Vibram 5 fingers that allow barefoot running.
But that's not stopping Jeff or Hillary as they try to tackle today's course with little to nothing on the bottom of their feet.
You'd be surprised that there's not as much glass in Houston streets as you think, but and it's pretty easy to see. So I just kind of use my eyes and have fun.
You got to be ready for a lot of blisters, but you know that the end result is going to be really great.
I got one word, ow.
Yeah, I'm with John Moore, and that is not the running for me.
Man, but they're the brave ones. We'll be back with more after we carve up. Welcome back, everyone, to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. We are joined now by our bumblebee on the end.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Don Nelson.
I'll have to take this off so I can hear you.
Good morning.
These are the non-hearing headsets, so if I take them off, I can actually hear you.
You were out there in the race course all morning.
Let me tell you something. I don't know what to say, John, but it seems like the rain has actually made people more enthusiastic, more jacked up. They seem to be running faster, and they're throwing up less because I was down there with it. And by the way, the crew that has to take care of that, they're very happy for the rain.
They are.
Sure they are.
It makes it a lot easier.
A little help from Mother Nature.
No, but the rain has actually been...
They're flying.
They're flying.
The leader right now is really flying. He's he'll go under 208 pace. He's gonna, right now, the pace is showing he's close to 207.
Yeah.
That would be a new record. A new record here.
We almost had something for YouTube. I know you may have seen it. I was talking to the good doctor Sherry Sianka, John Sianka, and the wheelchair winner missed us by an 1/8 of an inch.
Saw that.
You see him come by?
Yes.
Yeah. I just looked out of the corner of my eye when that wheel went by, and I mean, it was by that much. And I was also to ask him, what are some of the serious injuries you've seen?
Right here.
Yeah. Anyway, you think you can make a living with 2 pounds of adrenaline and a great set of pipes? Well, you're listening to Whit Raymond behind us. He's the announcer. He's the voice of this entire marathon. I had a chance earlier in the week to talk to him about his career as an announcer and what it is to feel like, what it feels like when you cross the finish line.
I'm with Whit Raymond. He's the voice everyone hears when they cross the finish line. But of course, this isn't his first marathon.
Mark is coming in. 3 hours.
So as you're sitting there with your hot coffee on your sofa and you're saying, well, how would I get a job being the announcer for marathons all over the country, actually all over the world?
The Statue of Liberty is at the finish.
I was pretty active running and doing the sport of triathlon, and then all of a sudden wasn't working an event one year, and somebody said, look, can you help us out? We think you'd be good talking on the microphone.
And the crowd goes crazy for Araceli. Oh my goodness.
The very first event I ever announced, ever picked up the microphone at, was the Hawaii Ironman World Championship.
26.2 miles.
So I picked up the microphone, I started speaking, that was, what, 18, 19 years ago, and I'm still at it.
A great day in Houston.
You think you've made people interested in this with the way you've described it?
Go, go, go! Look at the smiles!
Well, there's excitement right here. We're standing at the finish line, and this is where, you know, we're going to have 30,000 runners this weekend. You've got to have some excitement coming across.
328.
Can you remember when you got hung up with a pronunciation?
Probably the most difficult place is the names in Thailand.
In the full marathon!
What voice would I hear to make me feel like I really wanted to run 20?
Don Nelson coming into the finish line. You're doing the marathon, the Chevron Houston Marathon, coming into the finish line. Here he is, folks, 26.2 miles later at the finish line. The Chevron Houston Marathon, Don Nelson, ABC Houston, baby!
That cab better be here in 2 seconds.
Wake up. Wake up. You're having a dream.
Yeah, I'm having a dream. I really am.
Would you ever consider running?
Running?
Yeah.
I would have if these feet weren't mine. I mean,
he needs a different
If I get new feet,
if I could borrow
new
a
set
pair
of
of
longs, someone else to train for me.
Yeah, just a couple of little things.
Little barriers, little obstacles.
I tell you what, every year we do this, I have more and more respect for people that do it for whatever reason they do it, because it's, look at their faces.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's inspiring,
Yeah.
and we'll take you to a shot This is near the finish line here as people round the bend here.
Right here, look at this guy
look at that guy
coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is West Park Hill. This is mile 14, 15. This is where it gets rough. You know, you're going uphill. This is mostly a flat course. This is why people like it. But this could be a little rough spot, especially towards the end of the race.
Basically our only elevation on this race course.
Of course, these folks are thinking, oh, only elevation. You know?
The weather's going downhill this morning, and we'll bring you more of that when we come back.
Chevron's deeply involved in the community. Wherever we do business around the globe, we try and make our part of the world a little bit better. And we know that that begins with making strong communities. So that's why we volunteer. We also provide financial support to many nonprofits in town. At the Chevron Houston Marathon, we have over 400 employees volunteering. And in addition to that, there are people raising money for charity. In 2011, we estimate that it will raise nearly $2 million for the charities in Houston. What a great way to expand beyond running. It's a way that everyone can make a difference. In 2010, Chevron employees volunteered over 25,000 hours at nearly 100 different volunteer projects, whether it was building houses for Habitat for Humanity, volunteering at the food bank. We try and do a little bit of everything in the community, and we sure feel like we're making an impact. In 2011, we want to do even more in the community. Last year, Chevron employees volunteered over 25,000 hours. This year, we want to do even more. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we want to get started.
That's what makes this such a great city. All these people involved in this one big one-day event.
Yeah, and you don't have to. I mean, nobody's making anybody do anything. This is all what we want to be doing. We want to be a part of this wonderful event, promoting fitness and really promoting our city around the world.
Can I just give a warning? Do not try this at home.
What flavor is it?
This is lemon sublime goo. This is what the runners stuff in
Just
their pockets.
because you don't like it doesn't mean nobody else likes it.
Put it on toast.
They sell it. Maybe you have to be running to like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not for those who sit here.
Yeah. Well, this run wouldn't be possible without the good folks at Chevron. They have been with us for so many years. And Melody Myers, the president of Chevron Technologies, is joining us this morning. I already tried this, so I want to let you try the goo. But do you use this stuff when you're out?
That goo.
Yeah.
I actually ride bikes, and I do on occasion use the goo, but it's difficult to stomach.
Thank you for being with us once again. Why does Chevron do this?
We are so proud to sponsor this marathon. Now in our 6th year, it's just a huge community event for everyday people to have a chance to come out and test their athleticism and support the city of Houston, and it's just a fantastic event for everyday people to get a chance to run 26.2 miles.
Boy.
My goodness.
And I would imagine you have many of your employees running in the marathon, but probably even more volunteering.
We do. You know, there are over 250,000 people that either run or volunteer. We have a very large number of volunteers that are here today, and they're excited to be part of this event and supporting the city.
You know, I'm curious now because there's so much concern about people making ends meet, their job and their schedules and everything. How does a volunteer find that kind of time?
You know, we like to give back to our community. We're part of the community. We work hard, but we also want to support everything that goes on in Houston. So there's just time for that. We make time for that. It's part of our human energy. And the city of Houston does that. I mean, Houston is such a big volunteer community.
Well, we talked to Brent Smolik of El Paso earlier about how they keep their employees in good health, in good shape. It certainly lends itself to a better business environment. Chevron does the same thing.
We do. Health is a big part of just being fit for life, fit for work. We have a great cardiovascular program at the company. We have very specific health programs that we put forward for our employees, and we all partake of them. I partake of the cardiovascular program every year. It's fantastic.
Could you get Don a couple of new feet? Because he said he'd run if he had.
Yeah, if I had new feet, I would run. That's for
Well,
sure.
she is in charge of technology.
That's right.
There might be something she can help you with.
If you can get a nice pair of 13s that don't make noise when they hit the floor.
Well, that would be a new technology venture for us, but we could work on it.
That's right. You have a lot of takers, I would imagine.
Melody Meyer, president of Chevron Technology. Thank you very much, and thanks to El Paso, or thanks to Chevron and El Paso, I should say, but thanks to Chevron for sponsoring this great marathon.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
All right, 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon.
Yeah, we're excited. We've got 2 pace camps this year, and as we go to break, we're going to show you shots from the leaders of both the men's and the women's full marathon. More coming up after the break.
While you were sleeping last night, hundreds of workers were busy preparing all the food for the runners. It takes a lot to feed more than 26,000 athletes. 11 chefs worked through the night running the H-E-B mobile kitchen. Volunteers prepared 1,400 pounds of hash browns, 2,100 pounds of scrambled eggs, 850 pounds of sausage, 72,000 biscuits, and 36,000 snack baggies. If there's any leftover food, it's donated.
Hey, and welcome back, everyone. This is the 39th Houston Chevron Full Marathon, the Aramco Half and EP 5K. We've been down here in front of the George R. Brown Convention Center, and the rain, for some unusual reason, has just sprinkled lightly under our stars here. Casey Curry, John Warren, and myself. Just a little dusty.
Yeah, it's because we've got a cover, so our rain will only be light.
I will say it again for those just tuning in. I think, for the most part, because it hasn't been threatening with lightning this far away, but the rain itself has been inspiring. Slovak said this to me. He says, I was on the bridge and they were screaming about the rain. They were coming over the hill and they were loving it. So
I think everyone's relieved there's no lightning out there. They don't have to stand under an underpass for 3 or 4 hours.
No. And I would imagine you know that it's going to be raining, so you're probably mentally preparing yourself for something a little tougher than you had planned on.
And I think everyone's preparing themselves for something a whole lot worse than what they're actually experiencing.
Yeah. So when you get out there,
like, hey, I expected it to be awful. This is no big deal.
And the times have been so good. They've been so good. Samika nights at mile 22 Memorial area, and I think they've even had time to shop. Some people are shopping with it.
Let's go to Samika night. Hi,
how are you? Can you hear
I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's raining on me. The rain is coming down, so you caught me looking up to try to catch the rain here. But yeah, we're at somewhere between the 20 and 22 mile marker, also known as the dreaded wall. Runners describe this as the point when you become exhausted. Panic starts setting in. You start wondering, can I really do this? It's at this point where runners tell me you need the most support. So take a look here. A crowd has gathered here underneath the bridge. Many of them taking cover from the rain. It's very chilly, but they're here to support the runners. These runners say that it is extremely important to have a crowd like this behind you, because if you take a look at this particular route right here, you're going up a hill here. So that's extremely important. And before this crowd arrived here, there were only 4 people, and it's these 4. Well, when you count the little one here, we're talking about 5 people. These 5 people told me they are experienced marathon runners. 2 of them say they didn't make the lottery this time, or else they would be running today. They say they know how important the wall is, how important it is to support people here at the wall. They have been standing out here for a long time. They say when you get to this point, you need that extra push. You hear it, and they say you get the push, and you know that you can actually make it through. You can make it through to the finish line. One of them told me, actually, the worst thing you could say to a runner here at the wall is you're almost there. They say, because then you get a little bit of a false hope. So they say today they're just going to cheer these runners on here at the wall, and hopefully they will make it all the way to the finish line. I'm going to toss it back to you guys.
All right, we are only about 7 minutes away from the elite runners, the winner coming across this finish line. And if they do have time to shop out there, they better do it on layaway, right?
Do it on layaway.
And John's been furiously crunching the numbers, and we may have some really good times coming up. As we go to break, we're going to take you live to the West Park Hill. This is mile 14, mile 15. This is that dreaded hill that we've all talked
walking.
about. Yep. But kind of in the home stretch for folks, a little over the halfway mark there. So we will come back right after a quick break, and we will be back in time for the winners.
For 12. Welcome back, everyone, to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. We have quite a story developing here today. We have Bakina Talisa, who is the men's leader in the full marathon, who could break a new course record today. And we have said it might be a slower race because it was humid, it's raining out here. This guy's
and he's a late ad. This isn't somebody who was seen as coming in.
Well, the same thing happened last year with last year's Galano was a late ad as well.
Right.
So I don't know what his plans were prior to this. He's only run a 2:14, and that was finishing 12th in Amsterdam. It wasn't like he's won the race running 2:14. That was back in October, so he's done something right in the last 3 or 4 months. But he's got a shot to break 2:07 today.
Yeah, Tashome Galana set the course record last year with 2:07.37. He is on pace right now to maybe beat 2:07.
Right, 2:02 pace. This may sound weird, but 2:02 pace at the 25-mile point is a 28-minute one. He ran 2:01. Wow. So he's a full minute under that. So he's going to play, if he keeps up the rhythm he's going, he's going to be playing playing with that 207.
And you're looking at a live picture, and I know the quality doesn't look quite of what you're used to, but this is our pace cam. This is live right in front of him on a truck that's kind of pacing the race here. So you're looking at a live view from our pace car.
What goes through your mind when you're in that pack on the left-hand side of your screen? That's the half marathoners who are coming in at the same pace as this guy who's just run 25 miles.
There's a lot of differences. Some people are like cheering you on and excited. And other people are like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Then there's somebody yells, show off. You know.
That'd be Don.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to show off.
Now, you recognized him as you saw the starting pack take off. You said he was thin.
Thin, hair, not much hair, young guy. Well, I'll tell you, these guys are incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Incredible.
If you've never seen an elite runner up close, as Don said, I mean, that defines them thin, but rail thin, and just
they're tiny as tiny. Like the world record holder is 5'3", 102 pounds.
Why is that? Do you have to be that tiny?
Yeah,
you don't have to be that tiny, do you?
It's your move. That's the weight you're moving. It's sort of like if someone throws a shot put. That 16 pounds, the more power you have behind it. Well, they're their own shot put, if that makes sense. They've got to move themselves.
So the smaller you are,
right. If you
the
take
more
a big old engine, like an IndyCar engine, and you slap it in like a Volkswagen, it's going to go maybe dangerous, but it's going to go a lot faster.
Their calves look like they've been installed rather than just grown there. I mean, they're that
chiseled.
That chiseled. Yeah.
That chiseled. As you see him cross, well, this might be into the last mile of the race now. It definitely is, because here we have 2:05.46. We're expecting him to cross the finish line somewhere around 2:07. We would love to have him beat 2:07.37. That's last year's record on this course by Teshoma Galana.
Right, he's probably within a half mile of finish right now. Well within a half mile of finish right now.
And is there anybody back behind him, John?
Not close.
Not close.
He should be coming through 25 miles any moment, and we should be able to see him. He could be making his turn soon. If he has a shot of breaking 2:07, it's got to be really, really soon. And he does. The paces he's hitting, and if he knows what he could possibly... there he is. He's going to be sub 2:07 if he's got a kick. He may be way underneath it.
Here we go. Bakina Talisi of Ethiopia. Late ad, came into town on Thursday, decided to run this marathon in the finishing stretch.
Look at this.
As he approaches the finish line. This is tremendous.
This is going to be a 7-minute personal best.
He's realizing he just looked at his watch. He just looked at his watch. Watch
7 minutes. He's beating his old time by over like a mile and a quarter.
Wow.
He's beating his PR.
And even more impressive on a day like today with warm temperatures and rain.
He's only 22 years old.
Here he goes, 100 yards to finish it.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be really close, but he's going to set a new course record unofficially.
He doesn't want to put his arm up. He's trying to see if he can make it.
Oh, just over the 2:07 mark, and he beats it by about 35 seconds. Unofficially, 2:07.04. Bakina Talisa of Ethiopia. What a run that was in the rain.
Well, we thought when Felix and Galana dropped out that the winning time, I thought under 2:10 would be phenomenal. That was, I think, completely unexpected by everybody. I don't know, even Brant Cox couldn't believe this would happen today.
Well, I'm looking behind me, and as Casey said before, there's no one even near him.
He doesn't even look exhausted.
There's no one even coming close to being.
And there may be people running really well, not even close to him. Brett Gocher might run 2:09 today.
Which would be great for him.
Which would be phenomenal. And he's not even, he may not be within 600 meters a half mile.
This is amazing. Now, what makes somebody that, is not one of the premier runners decide a couple of days before a marathon, hey, I'm going to go run the Houston Marathon?
He must have been planning for something else. Like last year, Galena was going to run Phoenix, and then he came here at the last minute.
Because they can only run so many in a certain period of time, or else their body takes a toll,
and
right?
you really have to taper down to run a good marathon over a number of weeks.
How do you space them out? Every 3 months? Every 6 months?
6 months to a year normally. You'll have runners that do quite more. Like he might run every 3 months. He's kind of making some money, move on to the next one, make some money, move on to the next one.
He'll make a nice little purse today, 35 grand.
It's interesting to say it'd be a last-minute entry when the threat of rain and everything else was in the forecast and in the news for the week prior to the event. So.
Right, there's an agent that works with these Ethiopians that loves coming to Houston. He's brought Murga here, the fourth place in the Olympics back 2 years ago. Brought Galena. He's brought Talisa. He's bringing the big runners in here. And last minute today, he's made this a premier event again.
Love it.
We'll find out what he has to say.
We'll find out.
We got Bob Slovak with is it Bettina Talisa, Bob?
No, it's not. But I'm going to get him to say his name right now. Okay. Go ahead, sir. You are your name?
Bekana Deba.
Say it again.
Bekana Deba.
Bekana Deba. Bekana Deba. And it's from Ethiopia?
Yes, I'm from Ethiopia.
Do you speak any English at all?
Yes.
A little bit. So okay. Well, then you tell me, how was the race in the rain?
Yeah, The rest is very good, but the raining is too hard.
Too hot?
Yeah,
Too hot?
Yeah.
Too hot or too hard?
Too hard.
Difficult?
Yeah.
But yet you set a course record by more than 30 seconds. Wow. You were flying.
Because I'm so happy, because this is first the second my competition marathon. Still now I compete on 5,000 meter and 3,000 meter.
So only your second marathon?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, too good.
All right, well, I have the gentleman from Chevron. Your name again?
Greg Beasy.
All right, Greg Beasy with the presentation of the championship.
Chevron, congratulations on being the champion of the 2011 Chevron Houston Marathon.
Thank you so much.
Very good. You had your back to it the whole time. Is that your first cowboy hat? Yes. Okay, there you go. Big smile.
Hold that down there.
Big check. There's the record time for you. 2:07:03. Bakina Deba from Ethiopia. Course record here in the rain, but a huge smile. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There you go, guys.
Thank you, Bob. Bakina Deba entered as Bakina Talesa. That was his name on the entry form, is what we had here, although we may have been lost in translation from Amharic, which is the language in Ethiopia, to English. It may have gotten lost. I don't know.
One of the big challenges in preparing for this is trying to go through whatever the cultural differences are with names in Ethiopia to the U.S., because they have a number of different names. So I'll have to find them through first names and last names and various ideas.
Now, Bob just said it was his second marathon.
He ran in October. He ran at 2:14. So that was over a 7-minute personal best. Like I said, that's almost that's a mile and a quarter, mile and a half better than what he would have done back then.
Amazing.
It wasn't like he won that one. He got 12th. So if you're doing 2:14 and it's easy, but he obviously didn't have a great day that day, but compared to today, this is unbelievable.
He's got a good day today. $35,000 worth of good day.
Not too bad.
No.
Not too bad.
And we'll be back with much more of the marathon after this.
Welcome back. Look at this right now. You are looking at Bakina Deba, who moments ago broke the record from last year. 2:07:03 his finish time, beating last year's by 34 seconds. His second marathon.
Yeah.
The previous one he finished 12th. This one he thought he'd move up a few.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Wow, what a race that was. It's amazing.
The second and third place finishers were the Rabbits.
No.
Yes.
They were ended up being the second place finisher, Nick Arcianaga, that was his PR. That's personal best. He went 2:11:30, and then the other Rabbit, Wilfred Merger, had never finished a marathon. I never run a marathon before, so he's just under 2:12, I think. I don't know.
There's got to be some backstory here.
So what's it? And they win a payday. Second place is $17,500.
And they did their job. Every time we saw them on camera, they led. They led until Daba took the lead and ran away from them. They did their job all the way through. They're the last two guys. Merger was the last person with Daba going into the end, going in when the split occurred.
Do you think it's been all this street repair we've had done that's doing this? They're running all over us, John.
Infrastructure improvements?
Yeah.
Running improvements?
Look what's happening.
It's like a giant track out there.
Let's go to Ted Oberg. He's at Bagby and Lamar this morning. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning, Casey. It's awfully windy here. The rain has stopped as we move from Montrose, so we're at the spot where sort of the marathon and the half marathon converge again. All of these people are finishing the half marathon. They've got about another mile to go before they turn and can see the finish line, but that last mile at this point is right into the wind. So they're going not only to have to fight to get to 12 miles in, but now they're going to have to fight for the last mile, and that's certainly going to be true for the marathon finishers. We've seen about 5 or 6 of the men come through. We're waiting on the women's leaders to come through here now. But like I said, conditions about the same as they were in Montrose. Take a little bit of the rain away from that spot and add a lot more wind, but really no one slipping and falling on the corner here like we saw at the turn. They seem to have figured out how to run on these slick roads, but it's also a lot wetter. So some of the oil that you get when it's just a drizzle that makes the roads real slick has sort of oozed away. But the crowd down here, at this point, non-existent. But you got to figure there's a whole lot of people at the finish line waiting to see all of these finishers come in. We did see Clyde Drexler making this turn about 5 minutes ago, and this is a lot longer apparently than Clyde is used to running. As someone pointed out, there's no basket at the end of this deal, and this is a lot longer than he has typically run. He was walking as he turned that corner and then picked it up once he realized he was almost home. But we'll join you again once we can see the leaders of the women here, and once the pack starts to come through, we'll let you know how it looks. Guys?
Thank you, Ted. We just had the 5th finisher in the men's marathon come through and collapse at the finish line. It's been a long 26 miles for a lot of people here. Most people aren't even anywhere near the finish line here. We have the women's winners still on the course, and they are also running fast this morning, but we're still about 8 minutes away from their finish this morning. There is the leader in the women's pack. I don't know exactly who she is this morning, but that's our pace cam. And is she on pace this morning, John, to set a record or get close?
No, she's been on pace for about 225, 226, maybe 227 as the race has gone on. She should be within, I would think, within 2 miles of the finish, or a little bit beyond 2 miles of the finish. I think that's Daska, Mutidi Daska, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to see the number. No, the 29F. That's I'm sorry, that is Daska. Okay. She's the one that won Dubai a couple last year and won the really big money, the 250,000. Right behind her is Kasim. She was the #1 seed coming in. Daska's, believe it or not, it's kind of a last-minute ad as well. We've known about her for about 2 weeks.
Got an interesting running style.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, most runners have that single stride straight ahead.
It's almost side to side.
Yeah, almost side to side.
It's kind of interesting. The world record holder for the women is Paul Radcliffe, and her head bobs around, her arms go all over the place. And the biomechanists always used to say you have to be really careful with that. Finally, the updated research shows what's going on above your waist really doesn't matter. As long as what's going on below is efficient. Is your foot's landing underneath your center of mass and you're getting all the push you need. Your upper body's going to do all it can to allow for that to happen. So it is kind of wasted energy, but what it's allowing for everything to be much more efficient down below.
Right.
I would most likely, what we've seen earlier on the pace cam, she wasn't like this though.
No.
She's deteriorated a little bit. Not that it's bad, but that's going to be much more pronounced at the end of the race because of fatigue.
We'll watch out for that then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, for a lot of folks, the Houston Marathon is a chance for them to qualify for the Boston Marathon. It's one of the qualifying races for that. One of our very own weekend anchor, Adela Uchida, is trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon. This is her 3rd Houston Marathon, and she's hoping that some changes that she made in her training this year might be just enough to get her to Boston.
This is my 3rd Houston Marathon, my 4th marathon overall, and this one is going to be all about qualifying for Boston. One of the keys that's going to help me qualify for Boston this year is that I have dropped 28 pounds. And so that's weight that I'm not going to be carrying around with me for 26.2 miles.
We're moving ourselves. Baseball player throws a baseball, a javelin thrower throws a javelin. They're moving that's really lightweight. Our object is us. And the lighter we are with the strength that we have, the faster we're going to be able to run.
So the day after the marathon, I started on a diet and I very slowly began to cut back my portion size and really pay attention to what I was eating, which is sometimes hard given my job. Well, 3 days a week, I'm what you call a general assignment reporter, which means more often than not, I'm getting into a live truck with a photographer, and we're going anywhere in our designated market area, and I have to make food choices based on where we are. I'm keeping a lot of my training the same. My qualifying time, I have to run 3:45 or faster. I'm trying to pay attention to speed work. That's hard to do. I'm also doing more mileage, actually, than my training plan calls for. Being able to run the very prestigious Boston Marathon is a very big deal. And yes, if I qualify, I'm going to go run Boston and hopefully run.
But it's not worth it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
is it better not to finish?
Right. If you stop,
because it counts against your time. Oh, sorry.
We're talking amongst ourselves
here. We're talking about Brett Gocher because he was one of the front runners, placed really well last year, and we're talking about why he hasn't crossed yet.
Right. There's really no. He wants to do some pretty big things, and you can run about a 15, 16 mile type run and recover within a week or so at the pace they're going. Once you get close to 20, 18 to 20, you've done quite a bit of damage to your body, so the recovery time increases immensely. it goes from like 1 to 2 weeks at the most to maybe 1 to 2 months at a minimum. So if he wants to, he can recover from this, enter a marathon in 5-6 weeks, and have a shot to hit the times he thinks he can run. He thinks he can run under 2:10. I think he can.
Okay. Don mentioned before about people dropping out of the race. One guy went to his house.
Remember that
a few years ago?
We were on him with the helicopter, and he was just going. He was all by himself, and we were talking. Remember, John, we were talking, and then all of a sudden he made a turn, and he went into his house.
Yeah. What was funny is that was like the third person that dropped out that year.
Yeah.
The one guy was doing an 18-mile tempo run. He stopped.
It was some local guy that was well known for all that.
At least it was his own house.
Yeah,
well, exactly.
And then Sean Wade was the one who pulled out there.
Right.
And then I think that was the year Chris Chamorro won, when there's no prize money. He had no idea. And all of a sudden, he's leading the race. He's been way back behind in a 6th, 7th, 8th place, and everyone else in front of him just disappeared.
Okay, we got the women's winners coming in just a second. Don't go away. More of the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon as you look at the front runner when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the marathon, and we have one of the elite runners down this morning. We hope it's not a serious injury, perhaps just a cramp. Let's get the latest. Ted Oberg is out there where he fell just a couple of minutes ago. Ted?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, we're at the corner right as the runners come into downtown, and you can see the medical team working on one of the elite runners there. John Kales out of Lansing, Michigan, appeared to cramp up, sort of walked off the course before dropping to his knees. The medical team was right on top of it. Looked like they were working out some cramps in his legs. Don't know. You guys may know a little bit more about him, but he is up now. He's walking around. Doesn't seem to be all that severely injured, but certainly just something, that likely more runners run into. 24, 25 miles into this marathon. They're going to wrap him up in a warm blanket now, and it does not look like he is prepared to finish the race here with just a mile left to go. Just to give you a look at what other runners are facing here, just to the left of him is the half marathon course finishing, and they are really sort of the heart of the pack, coming in with a mile left to go, running through the canyon of downtown's skyscrapers here, and then down to the finish line where you guys are. But taking a look at the elite runner there who did pull himself out of this race apparently with cramps. He is up. He's at least talking with the medical team, and I think they may have what's best for him, and that may just be some rest and a ride to the finish line. Guys?
Yeah, that would be good because John Kales has yet to finish a marathon. This is his marathon debut.
Right, he's been a rabbit for 2 really fast races, Chicago.
For a lot of really fast races.
Yeah.
The main one is the world record. He rabbited over halfway to a 2-hour, 3-minute, 59-minute marathon.
Yeah. We're now going to go to Bob Slovak. He is with a Houston legend that is more known for his work on the hardwood as opposed to the asphalt. He's with Clyde Drexler.
Yes, we are. We have a lot of folks running here, big, small. I've got one of the tallest competitors today, Clyde Drexler. About 145. I was on base. What was it? What did you end up with? What was your time? I did up, was it hour 23, Dwight, or was it 2:23? 2:23. Give or take an hour. What's the big deal? What was it like running out there today? It was great. We had a wonderful time. It was beautiful. This city is a great place to host a marathon. The citizens of the city supported us on every corner. People were screaming and yelling because they knew we needed it to finish. All right, the women's winner is coming in right now, Clyde, so I'm going to let you go. Go catch your breath. You see how the women winners have left us? We're only doing the half. They're coming in for the full. That's how good these winners are. There you go. Appreciate it, Clyde.
Got to get out there with those long legs and run faster, Clyde. All right, John, take it away as we have the women's winner come in here at 2:26:32. Give us a little bit of a background on her.
She's the one we've been talking about, Marita Daska from, she's Ethiopian as well, and she's the one that ran the Dubai Marathon and won the $250,000 last year. She's a 2:24 PR as a personal best. I think she's running a 2:27 also. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head real quick, and a 2:25 2 years ago. So she's actually got a pretty good history of running well, but she was a last-minute ad sort of as well. We knew about her about a week or 2 weeks ago. Not as last-minute ad as Dava was, but kind of a last-minute ad. Again, she's affiliated with the agent that has a good relationship with this marathon.
There she is. She looks none the worse for the wear. A little tired, obviously, but she looks like she's in pretty good shape. She certainly wasn't anywhere near collapsing at the finish line.
I'm most amazed they dropped the rabbit. I mean, he's a 2:17 marathon in his own right. He was going to enter this race as an open competitor, and then when they added her to the race, he switched over to become the rabbit. They dropped him about 16 miles. That's pretty. That alone is pretty amazing.
Interesting. Well, don't go away because when we come back, we're going to talk with the winner of the women's marathon.
39th Chevron Houston Marathon in downtown Houston. Watching the pack of half marathoners coming around the corner there. We just watched the women's winner of the full marathon come across at 2:26.27. Bob Slovak is with her right now. We'll find out more about it, Bob.
All right, thank you very much. Her name is Mamitu Dasaka. That's right. All right, congratulations, Mamitu.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have a translator with us. She's from Ethiopia. Ask her how the race went, and did the weather play any factor?
እንዴት ነበረ ሩጫው? እንደገና ደግሞ የአየሩ ጠባይ ራሱ ምን ያህል አስቸግሮች ነበረ?
ዝናብ ትንሽ አስቸግሮናል እንጂ ኮርስም በጣም ቆንጆ ነው።
The rain was a little difficult, but the course is good.
Was it a difficult race for you? Your time was 2:26. Is that good for her?
ጊዜው 2 ሰዓት ከ26 ደቂቃ ነው። ይሄ ላንቺ ጥሩ ነው ጊዜ ነው?
ትንሽ ፔሱ ስለቆረጠን እንጂ ፔሱ 31 ላይ ነው ወጣን። እሱ ወጣ ከብደን እንጂ እሱ ብጨርስ ኖሮ ሪከርድ እናሻሽላለን ነበር።
The pacemaker, left us at 31, and if we had continued, we would have broken the record.
All right. How do you feel? She feel good?
እንዴት ነው? ደስ ብሎሻል?
Yeah, ቆንጆ ነው.
It's good. She looks good. All right, we're bringing Ashley Blair from Chevron with the presentation.
Ashley, congratulations on a fantastic run. I'd like to present this to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Mamitu Daseka from Ethiopia. Nice Stetson. First cowboy hat I'm thinking here. Looks good on her, though. The champion of the
I think it's on backwards.
Yeah. Is it? Wait a minute.
I think it's on backwards.
It's on backwards, Bob. Yes, it is.
There we go.
There we go.
You got to get that 10-gallon hat on.
There you go. There you go.
Mamitu Dasaka of Ethiopia. I should say Hamase Ganalo. That is thank you in Amharic. She is thanking her lucky stars for her good health and a good run today. $35,000 richer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, we're going to take you live now to the West Park Hill. This is mile 14, 15. This is where things get rough for a lot of the average folks here. You can see everybody kind of struggling. Lots of folks now into the race walking up this hill.
Yeah, they're only halfway through.
Yes.
A little more than halfway through. They got another couple hours to go.
That hill's got to be daunting, though, halfway through. I tell you what.
If you're feeling bad at that point,
it's bad.
It's literally downhill on the end of the other side of the hill, but it's not all downhill from there.
Is there something you can do with the upper part of your body that the lower part doesn't know, as you mentioned moments ago? It'll get you through this, John.
You can walk on your hands.
I'm going to think about that all day long. You know that?
Yeah, the different running style up above the waist.
And the other part doesn't know that you're doing it.
Now look at these people changing socks on the side of the road. People bringing dry socks along.
On a wet day, that's a great idea.
Really?
Switching out your shoes and socks. One, they're lighter, but two, you have a lot less chance of getting blisters.
What about the committee that has to pick up all the clothes today? I mean, I'm sure they weigh a little bit more than they normally would when it wasn't raining.
It's a good workout for them. That's actually the people we should feel sorry for. It's not the runners. It's all the folks on the course working.
Well, and I love this guy. He's saving his socks.
Right.
I got to tell you what, I'm tossing the socks.
Yeah, right.
Over the bridge. But there is a group of people that goes out in the course after the race, right, and picks up all the clothing and brings it back here to the George R. Brown Convention Center where you can reclaim them.
Right.
What is he doing?
He's saving them.
But what's he got in his hand?
Socks.
What is that?
One of those little snacky things.
Yeah, it's going to be
a snacky thing.
Oh, yeah.
There he goes.
Someone looks like a Slim Jim.
Hey, did you see where they changed the drink this year because it has more of an endurance thing in it? They got away from those Gatorades or some kind of new drink that we're using?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know. It's dangerous to do a new drink because you don't really want to drink something on the day of the race you haven't been using in training. So,
no, I mean, well, they've had this available all year. It just that it seems like it had more.
You mean the race people?
Yeah, the more salt or something in it, or more electrolytes.
More protein seems to be the new
everything
thing with drinks.
And we've talked about this in the past, but the best recovery drink
is milk.
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. Yeah.
But they think now it's because of the protein.
Right.
So
because the mix of protein, fat, and carbohydrates.
Right.
We've been too much carbohydrate in some of these gels and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, here's the running shorts for today. As you said, everything seems to change every year in running. This is the running short with pockets in, where you stick your little bag of Bean Sports and
snacky.
Yeah, your little snacky things on there.
That's
it's
really cool.
3 pockets in the back. Yeah, you can
really
carry some goo. You could probably carry a pair of socks. One of the pockets is big enough. And then it's got an an interior pocket for whatever else you need. So if you have extra pair of socks, dry socks. Bus fare.
You want to put bus fare?
Yeah, in case you're dropping out halfway through the race.
Just in case you can't quite make that hill.
You might need that. You want to try these? These are sport beans, quick energy.
Oh, they've been selling those. They've been trying to really get.
He's always trying to pawn these things off on us. Like we're little guinea pigs for him.
Sporting goods store.
Sporting goods store. As we try the sports beans, we will tell you that we have much more of the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. How are they?
I'm not bad.
Okay, when we come back.
They're made by Jelly Belly.
You can really taste the sport in them.
You can, yeah.
Welcome back. 39th Houston Chevron Marathon. You're looking at the finish line, of course. We have the half marathoners on the left, the full marathoners on the right. Obviously, there's a larger number of the halves onto your left right there coming in. But it is, we've been talking, it's been a bit of a struggle for many people.
Yeah, it has been.
Right, the winner ran phenomenally fast, and then the two rabbits continued, and one ran a PR. They both ran PRs because the Mergers is his first marathon. And Stephanie Rosti ran a 2:29, which is like an 11-minute PR. Yeah. But for the most part, we're watching people suffer a little bit. Right. There was a whole slew of they called sub-elites that came in here. You know, about 15, 20 people trying to qualify for the Olympic trials. On the men's side, they had to run under 2:19. Only one did today. Everybody else is off by 2-3 minutes or more.
Weather related?
Yeah.
I think it's weather related. I think that is what we're talking about, how the weather's not that conducive to a fast time. We were refuted with that, with how fast the 2:07.04 and how fast those guys ran.
That was the anomaly.
But I think it's an anomaly, the people that ran really well.
How about those rabbits in the men's race? Neither of them is expected to finish the marathon, and one wins 17,000 for second place, and the next one wins 7,000 for third.
Right. That I think what happened, Merger went with, he stayed with Dava for most of the time, and then when Dava left, he's like, well, no one's around, and I'm going to bet you Gottner told RC9, if you feel good, you go. You can make this. You can get a PR.
He said he's buying the goo for everyone.
I love it.
Goo's on me. Goo's on me.
That's it, you guys. As we talked about, weather is a huge factor today, not just for the spectators, but of course for the runners. We're going to take you to ABC 13, the Weather Center. Meteorologist David Tillman's got the latest for us. David, not nearly as bad as we had feared early this morning.
That's right, Casey, and things are beginning to let up out there, but we are beginning to see some heavier rain showers show up on the radar. The good news is they're not anywhere near downtown. We basically have a little light rain or mist out there right now. Heavier band that was over downtown just a little while ago continues to lift on to the north away from that area, but there is more activity out just to the west of Sugar Land that'll be moving in. It'll take another 20 minutes or so before that begins to move into the area. Lightning is showing up on our lightning counter, but it's with thunderstorm cells to the south of Houston. These are not tracking for the city. They're tracking up towards League City and Friendswood, and I think these will stay away from downtown Houston. Farther west, we are seeing some heavy thunderstorms there through parts of Austin County, but those are also moving in an east-northeast direction and will most likely end up near Conroe and Jersey Village and not move towards Houston. As we look down the Southwest Freeway towards the Warden area, we still see light rain. We don't see any heavy rain, and I don't see any cells on the radar that are moving towards Houston that will produce lightning within the next hour or two. So I think things are looking great for the end of the marathon. Here's a look at the weather where you live. Temperatures right now in Midtown in the low and middle 60s. Relative humidity values are very high at 95 to 100%. So it's warm and humid out there, but just thankfully you have a little bit of rain to cool you off this morning. That's a look at weather right now, guys. Back out to you.
Thank you so much, David.
We were so worried about the lightning possibility on Friday, and well, actually even earlier in the week.
Well, and as you can see, we really dodged it. I mean, you know, you're talking about these cells that are rotating around this area of low pressure. They very could easily have been, you know, instead of being 30 miles to the south, they could have been right on top of us. So it's nice that they had the preps in place for what to do if things did go downhill quickly. But fortunately, it doesn't look like it'd be an issue for us today. Yay.
And yesterday, the weather wasn't a factor for the USA Half Marathon Championships. We had a lot of people returning for that. And Bob Slovak is down there now with a preview. Bobby?
Yeah, you can see the half marathon finishers continuing to come through behind me. Yesterday, though, the elite runners took to the course. It was the first time they ran the U.S. Championship outside the main race. The elite runners, as I said, they were running on a course that will be used next year for the U.S. Marathon trials, Olympic trials. So the elite runners wanted to get a good look at the course. They also wanted to win the race.
Yesterday, the U.S. Half Marathon Championship hosted by Aramco run under almost perfect race conditions. partly cloudy, 59 degrees when the starter's pistol went off. 70 men and 44 women, the top elite runners in the country, breaking in the brand new 8-mile loop course, the course that will be used for the U.S. Olympic marathon trials next January. It didn't take long for the favorites to break from the pack. 9 men led by race record holder Ryan Hall, Patrick Smythe, and Mo Trefay. For the women, it was Jen Ryans, Serena Burla, and Katie McGregor. A nice pace for both, but the runners cautious as they sprinted along the new course. Ryan Hall, who set the American record of 59 minutes 43 seconds back in 2007, with the lead in the final mile, but Mo Trefay with a stronger finishing kick. Trefay winning in a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 17 seconds. Hall finishes 3 seconds back. Smythe third, 15 seconds off the pace. Trefay, the U.S. champion, earning him $12,000 and 1 shiny belt buckle.
With about 150 meters to go, Ryan Hall had about 5 meters on me, and I was timing it just perfect, so when I pass him, I don't look behind, and it worked out.
How does it feel to be the U.S. champion?
I was really surprised to win. I wasn't really, sure that I was going to win. I was just hoping to make the top 3.
It was fun, It definitely just felt like a dress rehearsal for the trials. Pace felt good out there. I was talking to Mo during the race, and I was like, this is going to be marathon pace a year from now.
For the women, 36-year-old Jen Ryans, one of the oldest competitors in the field, running the last couple of miles all alone. Ryans wins in a personal best of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. Serena Burla second, Nan Kennard third.
This race is the one I've been training for, so my goal was to come here and win, and I'm really excited. I'm really happy.
Obviously proud to be the U.S. champion.
Very proud. I'm 36 and I haven't won very many U.S. titles, so it's exciting.
Good job by Jen there. A lot of the elite runners, they're going to be back next year to running the Olympic trials. They'll be running on the same course right here through downtown. Back to you guys.
I almost didn't recognize Ryan Hall. He had a big beard yesterday or on Friday at the press conference. He shaved.
It's lighter that way.
Yeah, he's lighter that way. For Pink Floyd, the wall was a huge success. For marathoners, not so much.
Not so much, right, exactly.
Yeah, we're going to go out to Samika Knight. She's at mile 22. That's when the runners start hitting the wall. Good morning, Samika.
Good morning. Yeah, we're at what they call the wall, in between the 20 to 22 mile marker, where runners describe it as they start feeling exhausted. The panic starts to hit in. They feel like they may not be able to make it through. And yes, we have seen a lot of runners crossing over, and take a look, you can see some of them now, and on their faces you do see the exhaustion, but they are using the crowd support. You can probably still hear it. They're using the crowd support to help push through. The wall at this point was a point where one person, Bobby, he's a crowd supporter here, he felt like it would be a perfect place to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for his co-workers with Houston TransStar as they pass through. He says he felt like they would need some extra support here between the 20 to 22 mile marker. Yeah, we're seeing a little exhaustion on the faces, but they are using the crowds to help them push through and make it to the finish line. Throwing it back to you guys.
Oh, thank you, Samika. Is that a good idea?
No, that's a little too heavy normally. I mean, maybe everything works for somebody, but as a general rule, I think that's something to sit in your stomach for a long, long time.
Keeping our energy up with these.
Those are designed to digest. Peanut butter's not.
Pork beans.
Well, don't go away. More coverage, live coverage from the Chevron Houston Marathon coming up after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. As Don Nelson just talked about, Houston seems blessed this morning. The radar was everywhere but here with rain.
It's still around, but so far you've gotten enough time to get all your elites in and get much of the race done.
Yeah, we're joined now by the race director, Brant Koch, but you're pretty excited this morning.
Yeah.
As always.
As always.
I'm always really excited. Number one, to get it over with after a year of work, and it has been a pretty tough year. We've been working very hard with the Olympic trials coming. We've added another race to a weekend that already had 4.
Right.
And you got yourself a new record this morning.
I know it. And in these conditions, that's really a surprise. If the conditions had been dry, I think he'd have been 30 seconds, maybe a minute faster.
And here you're looking at our winner earlier this morning, a little over 207, 207.03.
Bakina Deba
of Ethiopia, although he was listed under a different name in the entry. But Keena Talisi was what we had him on the entry. But in any case,
Yeah, John says they just have multiple names a lot of times.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
But
we're not crying foul.
That I did hear. It's the same first name.
Let me ask you, when you woke up this morning with all that was looming about, what were your thoughts early this morning?
You know, I really just over the last 24 hours or so, the forecast has just continued to change. I just was very fatalistic about it. What's going to happen is going to happen. Safety is always number one for us, public safety, and if we have to stop it, we have to stop it, you know, or delay it.
And it sure worked out. Let's talk about next year, because next year we have the Olympic trials here, and that will also be another big race a day before the marathon. Actually, you're moving it 2 weeks ahead again next year into the middle of January, where we traditionally have had it.
Correct. That is our normal weekend, is the weekend before Martin Luther King Day.
So it moves back to there, and then we have the Olympic trials. It'll be a big weekend.
Correct. January 14th and January 15th. Mark your calendars now.
And it's a big coup. I mean, Chicago, New York, Boston, everybody in the running for this, and it ends up in Houston.
New York, really 3 races were invited to submit proposals. New York, Boston, and us. And New York and Boston each offered to do one of the trials, men or women.
We said we'd do both.
And we said we'd do both.
Of course we would.
And I think
everything's bigger.
The reason you can say that is you have a virtual volunteer machine here. I mean, it is so well honed, it's unbelievable.
We do. We have a core group of about 120 committee members, we call them, that really work on this thing year-round. Year-round, we have a working board of 8 members. We meet monthly. Our executive committee meets monthly. We have a staff of 8 full-time, 40-hour-a-week people now, led by Wayne Moorhead, our brand new executive director. Taking a lot of things off of my plate, but it somehow just time seems to expand.
That's right. The busy only get busier, Brad.
Brad Koch, the race
Hasn't
director.
happened.
Congratulations on another successful race.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Run for all these people this year, and what a year it has been.
I know, so exciting, so exciting.
22,000 people, although less than half of them probably finished today.
Probably, but still, great effort out there. I love it.
Absolutely.
So don't go away. We're going to have more live from the Houston Marathon, the Chevron Houston Marathon, right after the break.
Welcome back, everyone, to our live 3-hour coverage of the 39th running of the Chevron Houston Marathon. We're almost wrapped up with our live coverage, just a couple of minutes left, so let's check in one more time with Ted Oberg at mile 24.5, Lamar and Bagby. Ted?
Hey, it's still a little windy down here the last mile that people are finishing the half marathon on this side, the full marathon. A lot of smiles at this point, though. A lot of hats blowing off, but a lot of smiles. And today, despite the conditions, despite how bad it could have been, it was really been an excellent morning, the 2 spots I've been. Incredibly inspirational from the morning. You see these wheelchair runners come through. Half an hour ago, we saw a woman finishing the half marathon on a prosthetic leg. Kids cheering on their parents. It's always a great morning, despite the conditions, which at this point are a lot better than they have been for the rest of the day. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Ted. As we said, the youngest to run the half marathon, 5 years old. The oldest to run the marathon, 82.
Love it.
Yeah, inspirational.
It really is. It really
still have time.
You still have time.
There's always next year. You can start training now.
As soon as I turned 5, I said, you know, someday. Not quite here yet.
That's right. But what an amazing day on the course. Course record in the men's marathon this morning.
Right, one thing I can say for next year, I can make a prediction. There were 6 Americans in the top 10 this year. I can predict in this race there won't be 6 Americans in the top 10 next year.
Right.
They'll be on a different race. But we haven't had that in years to have an American presence that strong. It looks like 2 people actually who hadn't already qualified for the Olympic trials did qualify today for the Olympic trials. So there were some good performances today. But a lot of people fell off and had rougher days than expected.
Yeah, you don't often have a guy that just comes into town on Thursday that sets a new course record.
Apparently we do have that quite often.
I guess
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, it should be something that's very rare, but 207s 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row.
You don't suppose it's posted at the airport when they fly in, they say, hey, there's a race.
Just a few days.
They have a sign, all 207 marathoners, please go through this gate.
Go through this gate.
You know, when you say $35,000 if you win, that is an inspiration.
Not a bad incentive.
Right,
not a bad incentive.
Amazing.
Yeah, here's some of the runners coming through in the half marathon. These people are making it in just under 3 hours here. We've got a number of the marathoners now, a bigger group as you see that on the right, finishing in under 3 hours. These are some of the, I should call them elite runners from the Houston area who come from around the country.
So what was our final assessment of weather, John? I mean, as far as this goes.
It was a wash. How about that?
Yeah. Well, because it got us a new course record, but then I think it affected most people quite significantly today.
This is one of those things that doesn't, weather like this usually affects you, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
Where if it was like 75, 80 degrees, that's going to affect everybody.
Right. Yeah. Well, and a reminder, too, so many of the folks out here today are running for a greater purpose, the whole Run for a Reason program. We have 52 charities included in the Houston Marathon kind of system and raising money. All of these people, just average, everyday people, not just running for their own personal best, their own fitness, but for a charity that they believe in, a cause they believe in.
Hoping to raise $2 million this year. They've raised $11 million since the Run for a Cause, in 1995. Is that amazing?
It is amazing. $2 million is what they're hoping for this year.
Let's hope they do it. And as we wrap up our live coverage here this morning, we can tell you that 27% of the people are running the marathon or the half marathon for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there are people here from all 50 states and 18 countries. And, of course, this lottery that they had this year for the first time ever really opened it up to a lot more people outside the city of Houston. Didn't make some of those longtime runners in Houston very happy, but the race officials thought it might be a more fair way of doing it, so 7,000 people got cut out. 22,000 people luckily got their ticket punched, and we're in the half marathon and the marathon today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the 5K was a 26.5 total.
Yeah, more than 4,500, I think, in the 5K. Right. And it's been a great day overall. And we hope next year we have just as much fun and just as many new records set.
And we hope the weather's not near as interesting.
Yeah. We like dull weather because that always makes for a better race. Well, thank you to Chevron, to Aramco and El Paso for sponsoring these great runs today. And thank you to my colleagues, Don Nelson, Casey Curry, and John Warren, the track coach at Rice University. And thanks to you for watching this morning. We hope you enjoyed our live coverage of the Chevron Houston Marathon. Have a great Sunday, everyone. And join me tonight, 10:35 for the finish line. See your friends and neighbors running it. I'll see you tonight.